Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Fringe Think Tank. My name is Nathan, otherwise known as Old Man Builds. And we got Benny Factor here, and we should have a special guest here, Sears, here in just a little bit. Ben, let's take a look, man. You got your coil, I got mine. Let's take a look at each of them.
All right. Give me 1 second to take out this background. Okay.
So what it is
the mini lab.
Yeah, we got the same coil just about, except for different size gauge wire. So the frame itself is exactly the same. Let me show that for everyone right there. This thing's kind of big, man. So it's over like a foot in diameter right here. And you can see the windings in it. They're real tight in there. That's so cool. What was the gauge on yours, Ben?
Mine is 24 gauge.
And I put 20 in mine.
So they recommend anywhere from 28 to 16. Yeah, that just means it's going to be a little bit better. Apparently, according to their research, it's going to be a little bit better for energy production. That has yet to be remain. That remains to be seen, but we'll test that out.
Nice.
So I do have the Mark I generator hooked up right now to the new stereo amp, which is a Technics. It's a Technics surround sound system. So we should get at least twice the amount of RMS wattage output per channel. Yes, and I did briefly test it. It does spin the neodymium sphere pretty easily.
Really?
Yes, cool. It was spinning it real fast, but I didn't want to crank it all the way up. Yeah, I didn't want to crank it all the way up just because I want to, go easy on the system, ease my way into it so it doesn't blow up right away.
Nice.
After I do a quick demonstration, though, I think I will set up the diode. I do have a diode from the Arduino kit. It's not anything special. It's not like a high voltage diode or anything. So I don't know how well it's going to work. But
didn't that guy say we needed high frequency? Ben?
Yeah, I have the diode that he recommended.
You do?
It is like a high frequency, high voltage diode. Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hold on 1 second. Hello? Oh, you can hear me? Okay, yeah, he did recommend a high frequency, high voltage diode. So I don't have one at the moment. What I have is just what came with my Arduino kit.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll hook that up and see if it gets any power or anything. Hopefully it maybe provides some kind of protection,
Yeah, it says,
let's get the sphere spinning so you can see.
So yes, high frequency. It might still work though. Yeah, I got a couple high frequencies, man, from building on that voltage multiplier, and then I got a what was it? I bought a reverse diode, or not a reverse diode, but some kind of special diode for a number circuit, which might also work as well, since it's for the Tesla coil. G'day, mate. Australia in the house. Oh, man. Yeah, this is cool. Ben's getting his setup taken care of right now. He's got his new amplifier. His last one didn't make it. His first one didn't make it. This is his third one. So, but he says it's got a lot more power. So it's going to be awesome to see it spin and, finally get some stuff going here. What's going on, Mike? Ulysses. We're all here, man. What is going on, my friend? Oh, yeah. All right. So just so you guys know, I built one too. So I was showing it earlier, and here's mine. So it's nice and clean on the inside. All the bends and everything. Nice thick wire, heavily wound. So, and the thing's a monster size. So, kind of excited, man. I got the same frame Ben does. So it's it's gonna be good. I got 20 gauge. He said 24 on his, and I think we're gonna be good to be close to testing together. I still got to set up my amp and stuff just to start testing and get all my circuits set up like Ben does. But at least we're getting on the same page here. Yeah, it's glow in the dark. It's awesome. I love glow in the dark, fan. Me in disguise. Yep. What's up, Gerald? Hopefully you'll be on soon enough. Finish what you're doing. Bernie. Mike says, what's up? Let's see. What are we hoping to run from them? Well, first thing is a couple just basic circuits. We're going to get music to play from them. We're going to get a neodymium magnet spinning from them. And then we're going to start testing them. I got a fog machine. I want to see if there's a vortex in it. I also want to check it on top of my bifilar coil. Oh, sounds like Ben's got it running already. I got a bunch of different little tests that maybe other people don't that I want to run on this. So let's check it out real quick. He's already got it spinning. Look at that. Go, Ben.
Holy crap.
That thing is
That's
rocking,
like half
man.
power right there. I'm afraid to go full power.
Oh, don't. If it's working, don't blow it, man. Just stay with it. What are you at on that thing? Hey, Ben, what frequency are you at? And then how much power is it? Do you know? That's right. Ben's over there rolling the dice, man.
Yes. Give me 1 second. I'm going to turn down a little bit because I don't want to run it for too long like that. Okay. So, as you can see, we have an actual tone generator. I tried using the pure sine wave on YouTube. It didn't give the same effect. Just FYI. I'm using a frequency generator from Windows. It literally is just called frequency generator, and we're at 7.83 hertz using a square waveform. I'm going to switch it to sine wave in a minute because I have a feeling that sine wave is better for the electromagnetic field, but that's just a theory of mine. As far as power input, I have to hook up the multimeter real quick to see how much voltage is actually going in. So let me do that as well.
I bet he's getting a lot more. He's got 1,000 watts is what it says on this one. So he should be able to do pretty good on there. I think the last one he was doing was 60 watts or something. I don't know. It was low. It was low last time. So, and I think that's per channel, just so you know. So I think he got maybe 120 max out of the last one, and he's going to get, 200 out of this one. So 100 per each channel. So he's got definitely more power. So he said he picked it up for, I think, what, 20, 30 bucks, something like that, something cheap. And guys, just so you know, we are expecting Sears to come in a little bit later. He was in the chat earlier. I don't know if there's something else going on, but
$5 used on Facebook Marketplace. Shout out to
still trying to get
shout out to Robert,
story.
who actually sold me this on Facebook Marketplace. He's a great seller. He's got a couple more of them that I'm going to grab as well.
Oh, nice. Ben found his jackpot out there. Well, yeah, don't push it. But yeah, it's still everything's still good. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I managed to nap myself, man. I needed it. That music put me to sleep, man. I was out. I've been sick all week, and
So
I
it's
haven't been able to
reading
catch a
as
nap.
half a volt. It's not reading the correct hertz though.
Look at that, it's spinning with that. Has Gerald revealed yet? Not yet.
So I don't know if you could see that, but there was half a volt coming in. It looks like.
Mike Faraday's in the house. What's up, man? We got Tara and everything here, man. We got everybody here today. It feels like I've been streaming since this morning. I was up this morning with crypto, man, and it was like what, five something, 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, we went for 7 hours. Yeah, Ben doesn't have any sound on right now. I don't think he has a mic on. I don't think.
So Nathan, just a quick
There he is.
update. I was doing a reading on the multimeter.
Yeah.
I had to disconnect the reference circuit because it might be oh, my mic's not working. What the heck? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, we hear you. Go ahead. Keep going.
Hello?
You on a delay, Ben?
Oh, you hear me? Okay. So I was putting 0.5 volts into the coil. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of laggy for me.
Huh.
Yeah, I think it's lagging.
Okay. All right. Well, that's what's going on. Yeah, Benny's up in here now.
We were 0.5 volts in, and it was spinning pretty dang fast for half a volt. It wasn't registering. It wasn't registering the correct frequency. Yeah, it wasn't registering the correct frequency, so I'm wondering if that was accurate. I'm gonna have to, test it against a couple of multimeters just to be sure.
It doesn't sound accurate compared to what you normally put in that thing.
Actually, let me check my multimeter reading. Yeah, that's it. It doesn't like usually it registers around like 4 volts for that speed. So I'm thinking that maybe the multimeter, it doesn't go that low on the frequency, and that's why the frequency wasn't being picked up accurately. But in terms of why the voltage was 0.5, I don't know. I have to test it more to determine that. But that's what I was getting when I plugged it right into not the coil channel, but the other channel, the reference circuit channel. I just had speaker wire going out right to the multimeter, and it wasn't hooked up to the reference at all. Yeah, like I said, normally it spins that fast, or it just starts spinning around like 4 or 5 volts. That's what I was expecting to see. So we'll have to get our other multimeters going at some point tonight and test it against a couple of them. Or we could try different, like there's a couple different circuits in the multimeter to plug it into.
Nice. Gotta love these things, man. Starting to get them to work.
Thanks for stopping by, Sue. So the frequency was 7.83 hertz, the Schumann frequency, and we were using square waveform that time.
So hold on. You're using square wave instead of the sine wave, and it got it to work. Last time you couldn't get the square wave to work at all.
So last time I was using the Pulse DC. So when I was using the Pulse DC, it would like the sphere would jump when I turned on the circuit, when I turned on the power. But after that, it wouldn't do anything. It wouldn't vibrate or nothing. I just think it needed to be the right set. The I don't know, the frequency and the voltage needed to be right. Like I know what's his name? He recommended 5 volts, 1 amp, 3 to 40 hertz DC, but there was something he left out. I couldn't. Oh yeah, he didn't tell us what kind of waveform it was. If he was using, no, that wasn't it. He left something out that there was a question I had about his setup the other day that he left out. 30 to 40 hertz, 5 volts, 1 amp. He said DC, but he didn't say. He didn't. I don't know. I forget. There was a question that I had for him about his setup. It'll come to me, but I was trying to recreate it with the PWM, and I couldn't get that low on the hertz because it only goes to like 1 kilohertz. So I need another module.
Okay. It wouldn't go lower than 1 kilohertz?
See, I was thinking the sine wave will keep it rolling smoother too. That was my theory. You said lower than 1 hertz?
1 kilohertz.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the equipment to do lower than 1 hertz. The frequency generator goes to, I just think it goes to 1 hertz. But 1 kilohertz. Yeah, the frequency generator that I have goes from 1 hertz all the way to 24 kilohertz, I believe. But the pulse width modulator only goes from 1 kilohertz to, what was the max? Like 96, something like that. 99.
Okay. Well, I'll have to set up that on mine as well, Ben, when I go to run it
But
tomorrow.
I did test this. There was a pure sine wave. Yeah, there was a pure sine wave. Yeah, there must be some kind of delay. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you're a couple seconds behind.
Let me actually if I get out of here, will it still stream to my platform if I like reset, like get out and re-enter?
Just go to leave studio. Do not do anything else.
Yeah, hit leave studio and then come back in. I'm gonna try that.
Oh, it's so funny. Ian, what's up? How you doing, Ian? We got Ian here. Changed his front cover right there to his coil. That's cool. And we got Joe in the house. He's been commenting. Sorry, I didn't say hello. Hello, His Highness. We got everybody here today, man. We got a lot of people. Yeah, he popped out, popped back in.
How's it now?
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, well, they're good now.
Oh, nice. I just needed a reset. Okay, cool.
There you go.
Awesome. Awesome possum.
Just saying hi to everybody, Ben, while we're in here. We got a full house.
Shit. We do have a full house today. Everybody's in the house.
Yeah, the other person on the house is a special guest. Sears is out there somewhere. Hopefully he's all right. So he was in this morning on the chat when we were having it. So he's got some cool things. I showed you that fractal thing, right?
Yeah, I don't remember. Show it to me again. I might have forgot if you did.
Hold on. We're gonna have a little fun real quick. So Ben and I were talking about the coils, right? We all built the coil. Gerald built one. I got one. Ben's got one. And we were talking about putting them together, right? And Ian's got one. So we go, okay. I told him, we go, we'll just put their heads on Mount Rushmore, right? So I was messing with Ben and we went back and forth a little bit. And then this is what we came up with. And we're just having a little fun with ourselves and everybody else. There you go, guys. We had to get the back of Ben's lab coat with his merch on the back. You know what I mean? And then we had to put the coil coming out of his head with a look like he's dazed and confused over the coils, man.
It works because the top of my head was cut off. There was no like round edge, so you had to do something with it.
Oh man, that's so great.
Yeah, the Ben coil. Hey, I swear to God, I'm obsessed with these things. That's all I ever like think about. These dang coils.
Oh, it's Ian right there. Yeah, we got you, Ian. It was hard to get a shot of you. Turned that way. It was so funny. Great expressions. Dude, when I saw the lab coat, I was like, okay, I could put a picture of Ben on one of these heads, or I could put a lab coat in there. And I'm thinking, then I had to look for like the back of somebody's head that had a little bit of curl in it for Ben. Oh man, I was just laughing the whole time I put it together, Ben.
Surprisingly, it does look like the back of my head too. And I'm glad you didn't keep the bald spot.
Oh, that's so funny.
Hey, we have fun here.
Give you a little extra hair there. Oh man, the fun we have here. Oh, all right. Let me pull that other thing off. Give me a second.
Okay.
So funny.
Looks so posh. Oh, Mike K from Faraday Research has some news about the power cell build. Nice.
Oh, is he going to be able to share it? Because usually he's pretty hush about that.
Yeah, sometimes he can't talk about it, but hopefully he can share something.
All right, guys, everybody, this is V Sears right here. I'm going to go ahead and hit play. And I'll turn the volume up for you, too. So he's dealing with fractal geometry. So let me get the volume.
Who is this gentleman's name? V Sears?
Yeah, Victor Sears.
Victor Sears. Okay. Wow. Is that like a waveform or frequency he's putting in?
He's on a fractal generator.
Fractal generator. So what is that? A tone generator with some kind of algorithm?
So hold on. Give me 1 second, Ben. I'm gonna email Mike and when he give us an update.
Yeah, if he wants to come on and give us an update, I'm down. Whatever he can share, at least.
Give me just a second. I'll just take a second.
You're good.
Yeah, hopefully, he got his parts put together. He was looking at something last time. Sorry. There you go, Mike. I went ahead and said it. So just check your email. It should be in there right now. So that's pretty cool, though, man. I like that cell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm always excited when Mike has some updates because, like we said, he can't tell us everything, but all the juicy tidbits that he can tell us are definitely treasure.
Yeah. So.
I mean, when he's puts them on the market, if I can afford it, I'll buy one. That's for sure.
Yeah, Mike, check your email. You probably already did. It should be in there.
Yeah, sometimes depending on where we are and what server is being used, it takes a couple of minutes to receive the email, but it should go through. Yeah, it did look like a torus and how it was compressing and decompressing.
Yeah, well, let's just take a look at it one more time while we're waiting for Mike there. So
yeah,
it was just
cool.
It's just cool because we were talking about a pump that the gravity flyer has in a little bubble.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is this like a visual of the bubble you're looking for?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's what it's doing. And it pumps the center is what it's doing.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, it's like a spring that's going in and out. And look how far the outer reaches of the diameter go when it spreads out like that. Like compared to when it's compressed.
So what it is in that generator is it goes around and shows you fractals of everything you could do from a coil to everything. So it'll go in different spots and you can see what patterns you can put coils in. And when they're stable, they all stay together as one cohesive unit. It was kind of like what we're looking at this morning. It's just a different program. And then when they're not, it'll veer everywhere off the screen. And that's not a stable pattern at all. So it kind of tells you where to look.
Is it kind of like it looks almost like a 3-dimensional oscilloscope.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but not that sophisticated really as the one we saw this morning. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, Mike.
What's up?
How you doing, buddy?
How are you guys doing?
I'm good.
We're doing great, man. So you got an update on your cell?
You hear me okay, or?
I can hear you right now, yes.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, so, I got some test updates. So I went to my partner's place there over the weekend. It was about an hour drive to get to his place. So spent much of the morning doing some tests. Built a tiny little cell, tiny little thing. Was putting out 1.45 volts at about 30 amps.
What?
30
amps?
1.45 volts?
And that was one cell?
One cell. 1.45 volts at 30 amps.
Nice.
Just to put things in perspective, how many of them did you have to stack before to get that kind of amperage?
Well, see, the thing is, people can do it. Sustaining it. That's the problem.
It's just what?
It's a matter of sustaining it, right? So
so you can do it for like short spikes.
Right, and that's how these cells are operated. They have to be in short bursts. So like 2 seconds off, then put it into a recess for say like 8 to 10 seconds, and then start the process again over and over. So it allows the capacitance to build up in the cell, which we use carbon graphite in the cell. That builds up the charge inside the cell. And when you release it, it gives you a huge burst, a punch. And that's where all the amperage is coming. It's the potential that's being stored in the graphite. So the bigger graphite, it turns out the bigger the area of the graphite, the harder the spike and the longer you can sustain it. So the cell we were doing was like 4 inches long by 1 inch wide. That was it. You know, we're getting massive current coming out of it.
Is it more complicated than you just increase the capacitance of it, or is that really all that you did?
It's the chemistry involved in it that really helps. Like the chemistry inside, what we're trying to do is make it last for years, not days or weeks.
Right.
We're trying to make it so it'll last for a long haul. So if we could get 5 years out of it, that'd be really extraordinary. So I'll show you the cell that I got running right now. I will show this because it's all closed up anyways. Just let me change my camera here.
Yeah, I know you said you had to stack a few of them to get a decent
Yeah,
amount of usable power before.
See, the big difference with the Hutchison cell, you
Mhm.
can't multiply the power when it goes into series.
Really?
So
That sucks.
where this one you can. So here is the timer circuit. So
So it looks
it's in
like,
the so now
oh, that's a nice
now it's
timing
hitting it.
circuit.
Yeah, it's only $13.
Oh, I should upgrade to that one.
So I'm
It's
charging
got
this.
LCD panels.
This one's about 100 farad super cap bank, and I've had this light sustain
Mhm.
charge for about about a week and a day with the new system running. So I changed one element in it, and it seems to be giving me the longevity that I've been looking for. So yeah, now I'll show you one more thing. I'll show you something exclusive on
Mhm.
your show. It won't be shown on my show. Here's the new power cell, 12 by 12.
Hey, your cells look like s'mores. You should your cells look like s'mores. You should call it codename s'more.
Yeah. So the cell is 12 by 12.
Oh, nice. That's a lot bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, look at my hand. And I got a big hand. So the surface area, the space on the inside here, I'll just show this. This is nuclear grade graphite. This actually goes in.
It is significantly larger than your other smaller cells that were in series.
Oh, yeah. And this is one cell. So if I had 12, 15, or 20 of these guys. So this is what they use. This grade of graphite goes to nuclear power plants to cool the reactor down. So
Ooh,
what
Gerald's
are they?
here.
Yep. So this is the 12-inch one that I'm working on. So I'll be making about 20 of these. That's the plan. And I got my contact points there, positive, negative. So yeah, they're big. They're
So you
huge.
said 20, 20?
What I'm gonna make 20 of these cells. That's the plan.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm talking horsepower. I'm talking a system that will sustain a refrigerator indefinitely.
Oh,
And
nice.
some. Like this will when this one's done, I'm gonna hook it up to a 4 kilowatt inverter. So I'll be sustained 4 kilowatts. I'm talking like house power here. So I just checked my refrigerator. And I read the label. It takes 180 watt hours to run it, or 180 watts, which is not much. Some of the older fridges, they suck up a lot of power. I think my buddies, he had the ice maker, inside the fridge. They take 6 amps to run that thing. So it takes about 300 and I think it was like 360 watts, more than double the wattage of mine. So you can get efficient appliances. I think that's part of the problem too, right? People are using inefficient, utilities and stuff like that, which can really drag your electric bill in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, the plan is to make about 20 of these, hook these up in a system, and yeah, I'm probably gonna get 4 Power Queen lithium iron phosphate batteries, hook that up to my 4 kilowatt inverter, and then this will be recharging the batteries. The batteries runs the inverter runs the house. That's the plan.
Nice.
So like these guys here, look how small they are. My hand's like bigger than the cells. These things put out over 4 kilowatts in a month. So you can see the potential. And the thing is too, these cells should run for 4 to 5 years, maybe even longer. That's what I'm hoping for anyways. So it's all to do with the chemistry inside. The amount of research I've done in there is like I've done my university degree. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Gerald coming on tonight.
Yeah, he's on right now. Hold on. Sorry, I'll pull it off of the solo layout. I just got Sears just contacted me, so I'm gonna get him set up. Give me a second. You guys go ahead and talk. I'll add Gerald in.
Amazing job, Mike.
Yeah, great job, Mike.
I know what you did, or at least I have a damn good idea, but don't worry, I'll keep it to myself.
Yeah.
Yep. Very smart man right here. Right.
Yeah, great
Right
job,
here.
Mike.
Yeah, very
Right
good.
there. Yeah, that guy. Yeah. Awesome, Mike. Seriously.
I always love it
Yes.
when you guys have updates on your projects.
Well, the battery cell I've been working on for 2.5 years, off on the sideline, right? Every now and then, if I did something cool, I would show it, right? Now I'm getting down to the nitty gritty of making those things last. And the best part,
Yeah, you can
I'm
fine
not gonna
tune it now.
Well, the best part is I found the element that I need to preserve one of the other elements, my donor plate, inside the cell. Guess what? It's 100% organic. 100% organic. So my cell has no carbon footprint other than the carbon in it.
And your cell goes right along with your atoms mode.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
It's like symbiotic. I know it's smart.
It's kind of like the solid state version of my reactive generator.
Yep. We'll talk off air because
Yeah.
my brain's like it's awesome.
Yeah.
That's why I asked him if he about 20, because that's quite a lot of power.
That
Hey,
is.
Oh yeah. Well,
if I ever
so
get in the escape room, I'm calling Gerald.
yeah. Well, you figure the average cell, under regular conditions, we were able to sustain about 1.35 to 1.55 volts at 14 amps. Stable 14 amps. That's significant. That's a significant
Yeah,
amount
that's a
of power.
lot.
Like
Yeah.
I would personally, when I was talking with my partner, I said, "Hey, if we can sustain 2 amps, I'm a happy guy."
Yeah.
But we're getting way beyond that. Way beyond that.
And solid state too.
Solid state, no moving parts in it. The only thing, the big thing is you have to learn how to or find out what element protects your donor plate. That's the key to these power systems. If you find the element that can sustain or basically preserve your donor plate inside the cell, you're laughing. You've got a cell that will pump out power continuously for several years
And never degrade. If you did if you did what I think you did, the amount that it's going to degrade is negligible compared to the power.
Yeah.
you produce.
That's right. Yeah, it's way exceeds the amount that's being.
Absolutely, that's awesome.
Well, nothing's going into it. It just produces power. Hello.
Hey everybody, I just want to welcome Sears to the group here today. How you doing? We're all talking with Mike Faraday right now about his cell.
You know what I'm going to do, guys?
How you doing?
I got to make a phone call. I'm going to jump off here. You guys have fun. I'll come back later.
Right
Okay.
on.
I got your link. Yeah, and I'll jump back on. Okay.
Right
cool.
on. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah. Okay.
You're on. Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Clear.
I can hear you.
Oh, I guess I don't need the headphones.
I still need them, man. I'm deaf. So
I'm half deaf. I have a stereo in the background with speakers that go all around me. I cheat.
I just don't listen.
So how's everything going tonight?
Not too bad. After watching Sheila though, she kind of made me want to do something different.
Oh, she inspired you a little bit.
Yeah, the alchemical connections.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, her presentation was fascinating. I remember watching at the Cosmic Summit being blown away. Like I was absolutely mind blown when she was demonstrating some of her coherent waveforms.
So, how about this, Victor? You just introduce yourself. Tell us what you've been working on lately, and kind of some of the background of what you've been taking a look at, so that we can all get acquainted with you.
Okay. So this actually works better with two monitors, doesn't it?
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah.
Well, been doing a lot of things, but as far as the fractals, back in the 80s when people were into the metaphysics and crystals, I was trying to push them towards like crystal radio and other things to focus on, but I did do things like numerology. And one day my mind was kind of blown. I took the words, let there be light, and there was light, right? So you have a statement, let, there. The word there can be turned into three or ether. The word be, well, your magnetic B field turns into light. And then you got four words that are a confirmation, and there was light. Well, the numerology people get today reduces everything to a single digit. The numerology I learned came from a book from 1938. It extracted the vowels and said that the vowels were internal vibrations of an individual, and the consonants were what we expressed to the rest of the world. So you make a fraction out of your name, and you actually get an equation where you can do like Ohm's law. You can play with it. From that, I discovered two fractals I never knew about. I also discovered there's so many ways to God, let me tell you. I discovered other ways to get the same fractals from Helmholtz resonators, physics. But when I started doing this unconventional, taking the actual known fractal dimension of a quantity, like say there's a fractal that was discovered by Lorentz. It's called the butterfly fractal. If you want to call up graphics and show people while I'm jabbering, go ahead. Because I have mainly math and a few pictures. Okay. Anyway, this butterfly fractal shows you a north pole and a south pole going opposite directions. Nice. And if you think of the fractal as wrapped around a capacitive sphere, it's always going to be in motion, so it is chaotic. But anyway, there's these actual entities that are in the real world that are fractals. They're not just these pretty pictures. When I take the actual quantities and do ratios and fractions like she was doing, that's a different one. You want Lorentz butterfly.
That's a different one?
Lorentz. What she was doing anyway, you treat them as ratios, especially with the golden mean and a special fractal called Cantor's dust. You start getting physical quantities and uncovering a whole bunch of connections to the Earth and Tesla. And it just, I think there's a fractal way to learn and express electromagnetism. And it's through capacitance and inductance, which is exactly what you guys are playing with.
Yes.
Well said. Well said.
I seen a little bit of your work with the fractals. I was very intrigued with it, with the whole toroid, and I wasn't exactly sure what I was looking at, but it was very interesting. I'd like to learn more.
Well, kind of have a few things to present. Yeah, anyway, as that fractal's cruising around, you can see there's a North Pole and a South Pole in the center. So I don't know really where to start, because I have to like close my screen to present, I suppose. Yeah. And I'll rearrange. So what have you guys been up to already today, besides Sheila's work?
Well, I got a new stereo amp receiver that we've been messing with. I haven't been able to synchronize the neodymium sphere with the rodent coil yet, but we're getting close. We're getting close.
Sorry, give me 1 second. I'll pull up that generator that we were looking at.
Okay.
So
yeah, I got my pictures open. So whoops, back up.
if you're ready, go ahead. Go down to the tab and present. It should say present and then go to share screen and then click the window tab and then you should be able to click it.
Does that look very large?
Yeah, it should be open on your computer. So like if you just have your regular picture, double click on it. There you go. So let's take a look here.
Can you actually read that though? Or should I go full screen?
No, I think you got it. I think we can read this pretty good.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, so the concept here is Nikola Tesla discovered that the magnetic resonance of the Earth was 12 seconds or 12 hertz, and that the halfway path was around 6 hertz. Okay? There's an atmospheric envelope around the Earth, which makes another bubble, and that's where we get the Schumann resonance, around 7.38 to 7.83 hertz. So we have an electric atmospheric cavity and a magnetic Earth resonator. If you divide 12 over 7 and get the E-based logarithm of it, you will have the Bohr radius of the hydrogen atom at Earth scales. So 12 over 7, 7.38. It's all right around the radius of the hydrogen atom. So fractally, the Earth and hydrogen are at different scales, which may be a reason we have so much water and other planets don't.
Wow.
And so down below, you can take that 12 over 7.38, do the logarithm on it and say 1 over it, and you get a fractal called, that I use the Pluto symbol, the PL down there, 2.058 at the bottom. The Pluto symbol is the Lorentz butterfly fractal. So the Lorentz points is the PL LP symbol. And of course, in the middle, the golden ratio is 1.618, and that 12 over 7.38 is 1.626. That's very close. It sits right in the middle between 1.63 and 0.63 is a Cantor's dust fractal and the golden mean. So there's a preservation of energy somehow with the golden ratio.
That's interesting. No, that's very interesting because I've heard a few other people talk about the similar things where the golden ratio preserves energy or it doesn't allow for loss like other systems.
Right. Okay, these are some of the perimeters I play with. These perimeters are infinite, and yet you can see they enclose a finite space. So there's a connection somehow. And down below, there's that 1.372. I use the symbol K sub Q for the quadrature, because that's what it's called, the Koch quadrant. 1.37. 1 over 137 is the magnetic induction constant. Or they call it the fine structure constant. So there's another smaller, I know it's 137, but you can move the decimal point to change your fractal. And then this one right up here, this weird, that's your motif. You repeat these motifs and you get these patterns. This motif is 1.61. That's golden ratio again. So I play with these patterns on the math, and like I said, I take the actual known quantity of the fractal afterwards. I see where it's applied, and then I do my little math on it to find the constants and how they might work. Like I can, if you want an actual rigorous physics paper, to look at the fine structure. And Cantor is the man that discovered this fractal dust that I'll show you a picture of. The inverse, or 1 over the dust, is Sierpinski's gasket, which is a triangle pattern you should all be familiar with. And 1 over the gasket is the dust. So these things are inverse properties. I don't know if you guys use inverse properties in your coil design.
Absolutely.
But you can see that physics paper there and grab it. It will introduce you to it. Fractal Woman works with fractals. Her and I have discussed a few things. She talks about, she's got some matrices of known physics, 4-dimensional, but also a group of unknown physics. So I grabbed that set of matrices and have been working on it. And I have stuff to reveal on it when I'm ready. And it basically deals with this equality right here. 1 over the square root of 2 is equal to the square root of 2 divided by 2. So when the gravifier has the square root of 2 in it, there's a reason for it. That puppy, even though it's irrational, it's all over the universe.
Yeah.
Fractal Woman has some really good stuff on her channel. I actually got introduced to some of this by her channel.
I don't think it's irrational as much as it's looked at as irrational, but it's just like the missing part of the equation.
Well, you know how they say that it's not an irrational number can't be found by, oh gosh, I don't know how to put it. I'm not really a mathematician, but they say that you can't solve it with certain equations because it's irrational. And yet in my math, I can go forward and backwards with the math, and I can derive the square root of 2 and other quantities that are considered irrational, like square root of 5 and 7. In fact, the 2 times the Padovan number is very close to the square root of 7. And square roots and stuff is how quantum computers dial in their coordinates when they're doing their multi-bit calculation on a qubit.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy, these fits. But anyway, she was talking about music, and that's part of what I do here too. There's a certain note called the semitone. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Its number is 1.059463. If you use a 1 over 12 based power of 2 for your music generation, that is the Planck, that butterfly fractal, -1.
Sorry. Yeah, that you're all day today. My mind's been blown by the people I've talked to in live, and I think it's just exploded. It's about to leak out my ear. So amazing work. Continue.
See the
I'm sorry.
112?
Someone needs to go check on Gerald at the end of the stream.
Yeah.
The ratio of a musical fifth is 3:2. And if you add a 12th to it, you get the Sierpinski's gasket. So my fractal design for electrical understandings, I know it's got something. So here's the main equations: square root 2 over p and square root 11 over pi. That's what takes it from a 2-dimensional object to an 11-dimensional object. That's later on in the math when we're going to be traveling time. Anyway. But this top one we can work with. Sierpinski over the 0.618 minus 1 is equal to the Planck over p plus 1 over 137.15. That's the actual number for the refined structure constant. Should be 137.15. But anyway, the math makes this pattern where the energy transfers itself in these different 3-dimensional coordinates as it wraps around. And then the other one is horizontally polarized. So you have a vertical polarized field and a horizontally polarized field. And the two fields should encapsulate you as though you have woven a shroud of silk around yourself.
Yep. It's a double bubble, creating a gyroscopic sphere around the whole thing.
Exactly. And check it out. 4 times the Sierpinski's gasket is equal to the Sierpinski gasket being 4-dimensional.
I love it.
It's got something to do with the perimeter. The edge of chaos between pi and the square root of 10.
I'll be honest, some of this is a little above my head, but I'm still trying to keep up and I'm still interested.
All you got to do is look at these numbers.
Mhm.
I mean, the square root of 10 is 316. 3.16, John 3:16.
Oh,
all of this.
yeah. It's all patterns.
Do you remember what I said before, gentlemen? It's been written. But our understanding is where.
I love
and he's another part. I'm sorry to interrupt you. You're another big piece of the puzzle, V Sears. So continue. I'll shut up.
No, go for it, man. Because
That's awesome.
I learn when I teach.
Yeah.
This came to me in a download in 1986. I can't handle it all. So I have
hear that.
the Appleseed and given away pieces of the puzzle to people for years.
Yeah.
One of them people is Marco. I love him, but he didn't design the coil in a C shape. I needed a C-shaped one for a disc to spin and slide through it. If you go look at my video on the Creator, I have a perpetual motion machine. Anyway, all in it together. So yeah,
that's a cool idea. That's a whole nother topic for. I like that.
Yeah, that's like the homopolar generator, but it's probably a better version.
Okay,
I don't know. I haven't seen your system. I'm just guessing.
The numerology.
By the way, I can only get my neodymium sphere to spin in the rodent coil that fast and that well at low power inputs at the Schumann resonance 7.83.
Yeah, because you're trying to accelerate the entire mass of that magnet alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it makes sense. It makes sense, and how is it some people are able to spin it outside of the sphere? That's what I'm trying to decode right now. Get it to spin.
Oh, they get the momentum built up in the cup.
They just
and then
build
they
it
just
up.
Let the sucker run off momentum.
Yeah, I like the way you think, B. Sears.
Yeah, the focal point of that energy is a vortex. The hot spot is under the coil.
So you just have to get the momentum right. You just have to get the angle right and set it there.
If you want to just play with spinning magnets, where is your return? When you spin that magnet, you're not getting no return. If you strap it to a shaft of a motor and you can get that magnet to spin and get electricity back, that's somehow more than you put in, you're not getting your experiments are making you learn, but you're not getting any return.
Well, I do have the over unity circuit that I am getting 155%. It was just something that I wanted to see if I could do. They did it. I wanted to see if I could do it, but I do have 155% efficiency, which is great. And that's something that I am trying to expand on in phase 2 of testing. But that's something that I'm going to have to learn more about Bedini circuits and all that in order to fully implement. But it is possible.
A lot of people that say they have over unity. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm seeing like a lot of people that should be taken seriously and aren't, honestly.
I don't even know the definition, I won't lie to you, about over unity. Like, I know I hear you say 150%, Ben, but I don't know how you would compare the numbers in to out. Is it just your voltage?
Is voltage and amperage. So I'm measuring. So what the rodent coil seems to be doing at 800 hertz, around 800 hertz, is it's doubling the voltage and it's maintaining or even slightly increasing the current. But the increase on the output of the current, the amperage, if it increases, is very light. But it's maintaining the current while doubling the voltage at that frequency.
So that's considered 150%.
At that level, yeah. I mean, over unity is technically when you have more output than input. So say you have, 5 volts and 1 amp going in, and you get 10 volts and 1 amp coming out. That would be considered more out than in.
I understand that. I get a lot more. It's just I'm trying to gauge the percentage-wise.
Oh, you're probably in like the 900%, Gerald.
All right, guys, hold on. V-Sears, we don't want you to miss a page, so please go back to where you were.
I'm
And
just trying to
just-
find another similarity of how my fractal system wraps around the Earth. You saw the Schumann resonance cavity relationship to hydrogen. And this is the fractal one that actually reveals that the Earth has an iron core, or at least something that is got a cubic structure in the crystal.
Aha. Sorry. I think you hit the nail on the head there. I have a theory on that myself. It's a central spherical crystal that builds up through particle acceleration due to how the planet operates itself, and after a time accumulates a big crystal in the very center of it, and its rotation is opposite of that of us on the surface. Just a theory, but
That sounds good, because you would have to synchronize entering the underworld then.
yeah.
Oh, wow. Anyway, yeah.
well,
Pathetic.
hold
I
on.
didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
I'm just trying to think of where to.
The
So the way it-
Egyptians
it-
told
so
you it was there, by the way.
This LP right here, Planck, that's the Rents, 2.058. It's divided by Padovan. I'll try to show you that number. It has to be this number here. P is kind of like essential that it's to the 6th decimal. And it's 1.324718. And then you add the 137, and it's equal to these two minus 1. SG over phi minus 1, or phi over CD. Remember I said the Sierpinski's gasket and the Cantor's dust were reciprocal? Phi and phi are reciprocal. This is 0.618, the little guy down here, and this one's 1.618. The golden ratio. This guy is 0.6309. It's 1/2 of the Koch curve, that snowflake Koch curve. I don't know if you've ever seen it. I'll show you the pictures of all the fractals I'm talking about. These are the numbers and how they correlate.
Most fractals that I'm aware of, I've built just through making coils. I'm at 178 now.
Well, on that numerology that I showed you, I don't know if anybody got a picture of the numbers and what they relate to. You got to remember to do the vowel thing. Every book in the library you find today won't tell you to extract the vowels to the upper row as your numerator, and your consonants as your denominator. And so both the statement "let there be light" and "there was light," they both add up to 3. They're both 12s, but then there is an actual fraction related to each one. 29 over 46 and 21 over 54. 0.388, that's pretty much 0.618. What power is that? 0.618. It's a power of 0.618. It's also the Cantor's dust squared, and there's the dust, 0.63. This is "let there be light," and this is "and there was light." One is CD and the other is CD squared. How? The odds of that alone in with a 9-based letter system. I mean, these guys that were coding it, I am amazed. I don't know if you guys saw.
I have no words.
Just blows my mind to have the dust and the dust squared.
I think it's falling out of my ear now. Sorry. Gotta. Wow. That's amazing.
Zoom in on these. Oh, I can. Okay. I can let you actually read it. So I consider these to be like space and time fractals, and we got to mix them right. And then when Sheila did hers, I was like, oh, wow. She has figured out a way to like mechanize this down. And so when we get our octaves and everything actually connected to the real world physics structure, we're going to actually be transforming things into other things.
That is some incredible math right there.
Oh, and here's the thing. Okay, Cantor's dust over Cantor's dust squared is Sierpinski's gasket, which is equal to 1 over CD. And you can get it from 2 over pi or 7 over 11. And 7, 9, and 11 are the 3 most mystical numbers in all of the sacred geometry stuff that people, work with, because those are the 3 hardest stars for you to draw by hand. So it takes the tools of geometry, which is your compass, square, and ruler. Your tools.
Yeah, that's what I used to build my my template, and then I used number sequencing to build my star coils and the rodent coils and all the other
Does
coils.
that look familiar?
Unfortunately, yes.
Definitely does.
So anyway, yeah, you can see, I'm sorry I'm giving you guys my notes and not something refined, but there's an 11-dimensional connection to this whole thing. And so that leads us to something called the hypercube. But here's a concept. Recall the Earth and hydrogen connection. I'm going to take it to the extreme. I can't remember what year it was, but Stephen Hawking looked at the universe and its expansion, and he determined that the universe had a fractal dimension of around 2.1. Okay. And then he looked at the distribution of matter in the galaxy, in the universe and the galaxies, and determined that they were out there with a fractal dimension of about 1.26. Excuse me, 1.26. Well, if you look at that as a ratio of the universe and its mass distribution, it's 15 over 9. But since the universe is expanding, and the matter would stay the same, but the universe expands, when the universe finally reaches 2.16 and the mass is 1.26, so we have a permutation of those 2 digit numbers, it will be equal to 12 over 7 again, like the logarithm of 12 over 7 is the Bohr radius of hydrogen. So when the universe expands to take in that, I think we're gonna feel it when the universe and hydrogen becomes aware of how big it really is.
Interesting.
I think Gerald finally found some math he likes.
I do. I'm sorry if I'm quiet here. I'm trying to run this all over in my head, and it's going to take me a bit of time. I'm probably going to have to come back and rewatch this. Because
I got a question.
Really...
I do have a question for you, Sears, right here. Terran Earthling asks, are you using 22 over 7 as PI or phi?
Not literally, but I use all the multiples of 11. Yeah, I want to show this one, but first I need another graphic. It's in another folder, so how do I open that one? I want to save that folder and open another one.
Well, I got another question for you real quick. Where do we see elucers E 2.71818 in the system? I always considered it a containment factor.
2.718?
Yeah.
Okay, that's E.
Yeah, that's what he's asking.
Actual E logarithm.
Yep.
Okay, so he says, where do you see that in this system?
In my system? Oh, actually, okay, I think I know why he's asking. Okay. You want to know if I've done what Eric Dollard said and finally culminate all of his math down to E-based system to where it could all be stuck in one algorithm. And yeah, I'm not ready to give that out yet, but I do have it.
Nice.
If you want to see one example of it, I mean, come on, look at phi squared. It's 2.618. What's E? 2.718. It's a difference of only 1/10. And as I said, the number 10 and square root of 10, that's in here. It's key. Okay, plane curves in nature. This one starts with a motif of 3 triangles. And then you just keep adding triangles of almost 60 degrees, and you get a curve. Just like when you take the golden ratio and you start with 2 squares, and you keep advancing the square outward and adding squares, and you get that spiral. There are 2 different motifs, squares and triangles, the most basic building blocks of everything. One of them, though, p plus 1 is p cubed. The golden 0.618 plus 1, it doesn't square. Anyway, x plus 1 is squared. P plus 1 here is cubed. So this Padovan ends up going 3-dimensional quicker than. So I look at it as being magnetic, and this one's electric. The 2 planes, magnetic plane and electric plane, but they mix.
Yeah, they mix. And if I'm right, your math just proves my presentation. Because there's very little math in my presentation. I won't lie. I'm more of an intuitive thinker, right?
Me too.
Yeah. So I'm gonna apply your math and see how well it fits, but I'm blown away. I'll shut up. I'm sorry. I just had to say that.
So what we get is this set of fractally scalar waves or patterns with a factor that they grow by the power of 2 to the power of n, whatever number, 2n. Exponential growth. Padovan ties triangle waves, phi with the square waves, and pi with circles, sine waves. When it comes to music again, you saw that, or wait, maybe I should wait on that one. Let's see. Where's the... I had another. There we go. There's Sierpinski's gasket and how you derive it logarithmically. It has a growth factor that is of 3 to the power of n. So as each row grows and gets bigger, it grows by 3 to the power of n. And its inverse, Sierpinski's gasket, is built up this way. And it's like cellular growth and computer memories, yeast multiplying, right? In the bar, you take out the middle third, so you get 2 segments. And then you keep taking out the thirds. Well, they grow by powers of 2. So you've got 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. It just keeps growing like binary and cell growth.
Hey, Victor, do you have a screen share for us on that?
You don't see it?
No. Your thing came down. You're going to put it up again.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
Sorry.
I'm visualizing it in my brain. I'm sorry.
I was doing the same, but the people, Ian's in the chat, and Ian's all over this.
It's okay. Not everybody uses this like we do all the time,
Yeah.
Can you see that one?
Oh, hold on. Let me add it.
Oh, wait.
There we go.
The 0.63, when we did the let there be light, and it turned into 0.63, it's an actual fractal to the decimal. I mean, but you got to do the numerology with the vowels removed and do the fraction, or you don't discover this. You just end up with the number 9.
Interesting.
Right. So you're ignoring the vortex math based, like reducing everything down in this
Yeah,
instance.
when I showed Marco that years ago, I mean, I wasn't even at this level then.
It goes back to like some people think they have the whole picture, and I don't think they do. Like Gerald was saying, Marco, he might not understand everything. Like he might have just a piece. you know, and then
He does. He has.
yeah.
If I may be so bold, he has
Mm.
the seed I gave him.
Mm.
He grew something beautiful out of it because we're working together, but it was not what was asked for.
Mm.
But I don't care. I mean, we are here today and doing something. So,
Right, we're
I will make
advancing
that
it.
statement. I will give it public. I planted that seed because I could not do everything.
That's cool. No, I really enjoy your work and your presentation so far. I'm trying to wrap my brain around it because I'm kind of a layman in terms of math. So, but
Okay, well, that 0.63, if you do 1 divided by 0.63, you'll end up with this guy.
oh wow.
And it can be generated logarithmically with the numbers 3 and 2.
Oh, that's cool.
And if you go log 4 over log 3, then you'll get the Koch curve. And so logarithmically, okay, that's that log key on your calculator. That's where E comes in. That's where 2.718 comes in. When you're going ln logarithm, it's E. If you're going log, it's 10. And I use the logarithm. I thought I showed you guys a log of, oh yeah, right here. ln, the logarithm of 12 over 7. That ln means you use the E-base logarithm to get this value, not the 10-base log. There's 2 different logarithms, E and 10. Okay. And in fact, 10-base logarithm is what Tesla was alluding to when he said, if only you knew the powers of 3, 6, and 9, you would have a key, not the key, a key to understand the universe. Okay? The man was inventing radio. Radio starts at 10 to the power of 3. You got kilohertz, megahertz, and gigahertz. 10 to the power of 3 is megahertz. 10 to the power of 6, you got 6 zeros, it's megahertz. 10 to the power of 9, 9 zeros, gigahertz. That is how we get scientific notation and measure the universe so that we can all be on the same page and make our calculations equal the truth and not somebody's illusion.
Absolutely.
Right, not trying to make the numbers fit into somebody's like made up equation or dimensions or whatever.
Well, if you didn't know about math and we're on the wrong page, I could tell you when the next eclipse comes that I'm going to block the sun if you don't give me all your gold.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, I'm gonna stay quiet on that one. I could say so much.
Yeah, I wish my stuff was in better focus. I'll try to get prepared better. But when we're talking about music, right, that 1.059 and the Planck being there,
Yep.
There's these 12 and I think it's 17. I should get my own paper. You saw how the Sierpinski's gasket grows by powers of 3 and the Cantor's dust grows by powers of 2. Music comes from powers of 2. So what comes from the powers of 3? Matter?
Light, maybe? I'm not sure. I'm just guessing.
Well, it's supposed to be, yeah. I call it the semitone and light. But anyway, the semitone
it is.
and music.
Huh.
Get out the log 12, that log of 2 over 3, right? Log 2 over log 3, that fractal right here, the dust, it's equal to 12 over 19. If you take 2 to the power of 1 over 12 and 3 to the power of 1 over 19, they're equal. The fractal gives you the power exponents of the power exponents you need to create stuff out of light. And Tesla said everything is light or hydrogen or whatever.
So basically you're saying these are 2 parts of the whole equation right here.
So when I saw Sheila, you can well imagine how I was going, oh my God, I love her. We got to hook up because
You just
alchemy, photonic alchemy.
That's a new one
Absolutely.
for me, photonic alchemy. That's cool.
Okay, this we gotta be careful because
I know.
I was wiping off my whiteboard I was wiping off my whiteboard when we started this because I had this conversation with somebody before we even got on here. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's to a T. In fact, yeah, let's just say we'll have to talk like on a Zoom call, not on live, because I don't know what to put out there just yet, if you know what I mean.
And for those who are wondering, Gerald does not have a crystal ball. He's just very intuitive.
Me too. We're into the record, right?
Yeah.
Akashic,
Yeah, everybody's in sync.
Do you access the Akashic?
I do.
Akashic records?
I believe
I try
do,
at least.
But I don't think it's the way that other people consider they do, if you know what I mean by that. My beliefs are usually a little different than accessing the Akashic records through, say, meditation or any form like that. I get dreams and visions, so it's a little different.
Well, that's definitely another aspect. Yeah, some people get visions and dreams, and some people access them different ways. I mean, it's a multifaceted phenomenon. I'd say there are different ways and access points to the Akashic, but I definitely try to when I meditate, and I attribute some of my own revelations about vortex math and all that that I developed in divine science to the Akashic.
I should ask you, what's your definition of the Akashic records and its source? Because to me that matters, right? So for me, well, I believe that God put it into play. It's a three-dimensional record system that's made out of plasma. It's beyond time, and we can access it when we, as Joe said earlier, are at 0 point emotionally, and spiritually, morally, call it what you will. But I believe it's being humble and knowing who you are and how small you really are in a very big freaking bowl of life, right? So because of that, I think if we were to think that way and allow our hearts to be open, we can access that information because it's given to us. So that's how I think of the Akashic records, and correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know. I mean,
Children.
Say.
Yeah, it's just that's.
What if number 82? I propose the idea that possibly hydrogen is opening up all of its dimensions, and that is the expansion of the universe. But all is made of one. So if the universe finally reaches that point where it's 12/7, also, you could say that God's computer is made of a single atom of hydrogen, and he's going to extrapolate his data pretty soon.
And it's just everything's a fractal of that one.
Well, okay, the golden ratio is a perfect mean for allowing every wavelength to exist with equal temperament, you could say. It does not judge your size. It lets everyone fit and come in. It is perfect for expansion and compression.
Scalable. Yeah.
So the universe is compressing information as it expands. It's compressing it into us so it can expect it later.
That's interesting. No, this is all fascinating. It's all new to me, but this is very interesting because I've had some similar theories about the Akashic record that I shared with Gerald, you know, and I am almost on the same wavelength of you as in terms of what I believe that the Akashic record is. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's all theories and we really don't know. But I believe that some people have the ability to access it. And what I believe is that if you are not in good faith, you do have trouble accessing it.
Yeah, if you're disturbed, because most of it comes to me when I least expect it.
Right.
You know?
Like you said, when you're in that even state. Yeah. Because everybody's up, you know, we're up and down sometimes, you know, life hits us and we get emotional. But when you center yourself, and maybe, you know, like that's happens at different times for people, you know, meditation or not. When you center yourself and you're able to get to that 0 point, you can access it easier. It's an interesting theory. It makes sense though.
So Sears, you get it when you least expect it. That's usually when you're probably the most humblest.
Yeah, not expecting, not seeking, not wanting, not expecting.
Absolutely.
This last picture here, I guess. This is when I asked when I asked Wolfram Alpha about the Padovan number when I plugged my math in. It gave me all of this big P equals some square root of 69 stuff. I don't know anything about that equation, so that's unknown to me where that could be in real nature. And I did not know up here that its boundary condition was a negative P cubed. So that makes me think that P is the thing that accesses Eric Dollard's counter space because it's negative and it's three-dimensional, which means that's not our space.
That could be the inside of the bubble that Nathan and I discuss all the time.
Well, it equals zero once you, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's interesting. I have to go over that myself later.
Yeah. It actually has a real quantity of -1. Well, where do we get that? I mean,
the back EMF of coil systems that are fractal.
Something. I mean, this is what Wolfram gave me. And see this down here? This is a graph where the flow is going to the right, and all of a sudden it goes down into this dip and disappears, and then rises right back out and keeps on flowing. So I don't know why when I first saw that, the picture made me think, and the waters were parted. So I don't know, but yeah, you can ask Wolfram Alpha that one.
This is all interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think you're dead on there, V Sears. I really do.
Yeah, the whole equation for let there be light, that blew my mind. That was really cool.
You guys think of what I thought when we talked a couple of days ago? V Sears and I got together and had a conversation the first time. My jaw's on the floor, right? So I asked him if I could record the conversation because it was just like this. And I just couldn't believe my own ears when I start hearing everything that he started saying. And it just starts to fit as you're working through your problems. It was just absolutely amazing.
So it looks like we're gathering. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said thanks, man. I don't hear many compliments. Most people, they either their eyes gloss over or they're I don't know.
We've all been there. I've been thrown out of so many Discord communities for sharing my research, just for sharing it, laughed at, called a fake scientist, and all sorts of crap. You know, it's unfortunate, but here you have a platform, and we take you seriously. You know, and we love to have people come on and share their stuff because it helps us in our own research, and we're a team here. You know, like
it looks like we got the second alchemist on the ship coming on here.
This is so cool. Yeah, no, you're a great addition to our team.
It's just funny. We got a mathematician Joe likes the first time.
Yeah, it's rare, I tell you. No offense.
So you don't mind playing with your calculator?
Hey, I'm not afraid of a little math. I was actually pretty good at math.
I'm not a mathematician. I can follow it, but a little slower than others. I was quicker before my car accident, but I can still follow along. So, yeah.
Who was the person that wanted to know where E came in? I'll give you a little.
Oh, Ian wanted to know that. Hold on, I can find the comment. Give me a second.
Well, okay, I'll give a little morsel. That 0.539 Bohr radius for hydrogen. If you take E and raise it to the power of 0.618, now give the inverse. 1 divided by that answer.
There you go, Ian. Let me ask you something, V. Is it okay that everybody contacts you if I give out your email to the guys on the?
Sure.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I'm sure Ian's going to be talking to you for sure. I'm sure that conversation is going to happen, and then Gerald and what he's doing is probably going to be there as well as he's working on his project over there.
Oh yeah, you could probably help me with the math on my gold and silver coil. I've never had a coil. Sorry?
I haven't done too much with the vortex-based math and the number systems there, but I did write down a bunch of it that him and Randy were doing a few years ago and was going to look at it, but my stuff kind of kept me busy for 18 years.
I don't work with Rodin's math. It's a little different.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess you could consider it vortex math. I mean, they do create vortexes, but I never based any of my systems on the math. It started from a dream. And I got the numbers literally in a dream, built it, started experimenting, playing, and brought me to this place here now.
Gerald, do you mind me asking, is this before or after your accident?
E to the 0.618. That's the little thing that I play with mainly, the 0.618 toy maker. E raised to the power of 0.618, and then do 1 over that. It's equal to 1 over 3 times phi 0.618. 3 times 0.618. They're equal. A trinity and E together. They both equal the Bohr radius of hydrogen. And so I'm working on an oscillator. In fact, I don't know if you guys are familiar with dapping. These little blocks with curves in them. And you get this tool where you're hammering and pounding in. And I'm taking copper, cutting out circles and making these little hemispheres, right? So I can get sphere balls. And I'm making Tesla's spherical capacitors to do some tests on whether different diameter spheres give you the same capacitor or different capacitors. So I'll be having some big copper balls.
Very nice. Old ball shirt. Now we have a copper ball shirt. And I've looked into the lab coats. I got a few coming.
Oh,
nice.
I said I was going to start it. I'm starting it. I want to sell lab coats. It's going to have benefactor and that symbol on it. And then, like I said, on the inside, we're going to have sayings. We're going to have old balls. We're going to have copper balls. We're going to have one ball. I'm telling you, we're going to make this sucker work.
We've got big balls.
There you go.
Our theme song.
Gerald, what's going to go on the inside of yours, though?
It's a capacitor.
Not sure yet.
I was thinking Lord of the Rings. What do you think?
I don't know.
Nah.
Not sure if I like that ring to it. But interesting thought.
Old copper balls.
I used to call him Lord of the Rings because he's got so many coils that are so impressive.
Yeah, all based on sacred geometry.
Nathan, as far as the Rodin coil system and the Graviflyer, the other day when you were given your self presentation, after a rundown, and you were talking about having to pulse the Graviflyer 5 times, I think I have an answer. Grab a picture of something called conic sections.
Conic sections.
CONIC sections.
Interesting thought.
In fact, I wonder if I have a picture of it for us.
I like that idea. What Terran Earthling said, lab coat full of coils.
Yeah, I seen that too.
Yeah, give me just 1 second. I got it. It'll just take a second.
Just open it up and it's just full of like a rack of coils. Hey, I got what you need.
Fat backs. Just kidding.
Oh man.
Okay. All right, bringing it up now. See if I got the right one.
You know how they say that the golden mean is a 5-fold geometry?
Yep.
Okay. Well, they're showing the hyperbola as covering 2 different cones, but all of these slices can actually come out of one cone. Okay. But this is a very good representation. So if we apply all 4 angles to one cone, say the top cone is a vortex pouring down, as the energy is going, it has to translate through all 4 of those. It actually starts as the circle, a big circle up top. Its angular momentum starts vectoring downwards, so it has to pulse past the elliptic curve that's going to try to suck it in, like planets use elliptic curves. That's an energy, a momentum and energy conserving curve. Then it has to push past the parabolic curve to finally hit the hyperbolic curve, where everything becomes collimated like a piece of wood. The spirals around a piece of wood.
Yep.
Oh, hold on. Let me pull that up separate. Give me 1 second.
Like a caduceus coil.
Kind of, but there's a thing to the wrap.
Oh yeah, okay.
One up the middle that's
It's like a stitch pattern. A cross
there's
stitch
going to
pattern.
be 2 paths. Let's see. 2 paths, these 2 together right here, really close.
Yeah.
Are going down really, really slow. But then this, I call it a back channel. Let's see. This other stripe, dang it, this mirroring is screwing with me brain.
I know it's hard.
Hard,
Anyway,
yeah.
you can tell the wrap going back up right here
Mhm.
is long. And then these ones going at this angle, they're in pairs, but they're like a spiral staircase, and the other one that they connect. One goes down at an angle really sharp, and then this, if you follow the red one, it's going to take a really long time.
Yep.
So they don't all wrap exactly the same. One might take a really long angular phase. Its phase might be really long, so it's a slow phase, and the other 2 are fast.
Yeah, it's like a red blue shift.
After watching Sheila, I went out and learned I did not know. When it comes to music and say you're going to play a fifth, I found out there's something called a lateral fifth that moves this way, and there's a rotary fifth. I didn't know that. If you apply a lateral fifth to your rotary system, it might not give you what you want.
Wow.
And I didn't realize this stuff till she made me think, and I started digging. If you want to know about it, I definitely recommend this book.
Quadrivium.
The 4 classical liberal arts: number, geometry, music, and cosmology.
Oh, that's cool.
This is almost like a primer for Masons, I swear.
Huh.
Open it up. And
Can you get that on
every time
Amazon?
I opened it, I went to that page, Resonance Pictures. And it showed the Chladni forms you're all familiar with. Well, it says those pictures are all 2- and 4-way because they're on a square membrane. Then he talks about the patterns you get if you use a round membrane.
Oh wow.
That makes me
That's
want to
pretty
take a
cool.
pizza platter and put it on my rodent coil and do some cymactic tests.
Those pictures are the pictures I based my first coils on.
Radical. Yeah, this puppy.
Absolutely.
This book, I mean, oh well, that ain't going to come in well, but it talks
Yeah,
about
kinda
so many
see it
things. Like
a
that's a
bit.
Celtic circle, but then it also shows how it's a Gothic church window, and they show
Right.
this
It's
Ah.
got,
geometry all over.
yeah,
Huh.
like a small labyrinth, correct? Interwoven. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, that book is definitely worth the money. It's from Wooden Books. Yeah.
Can you get it on
But
Amazon
anyway,
or it's
the conic sections was the thing I think is the reason that you have to pulse it 5 times, or you were saying, is because
Yes.
it has to push past all 5 of those or 4 to go from a big circle to the smaller collimated circle. Yeah, the 5th would be taking the big circle from up top to your 0-point circle.
yeah?
Okay, so is the second one over? Is that the one you say it's finalized at?
No, I think of the when it goes hyperbolic, where you're connecting the top and the bottom,
Okay.
that's when you're going to get your. Yeah, if you want to play that one fractal pump that we discovered.
Oh yeah. I was playing it earlier. Let me play it so that you can narrate for us a little bit. Give me 1 second.
Or would you like me to show you my concepts that I do that software with?
Yeah, I want to see everything. Give me just 1 second. I just want to do this one first.
What are the rules about doing something online?
No medical.
Okay.
You can disable your screen if you need to do that. Like, just hit the start cam or stop
Yeah, you
cam.
can do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready? I'm gonna play it right now.
I was just goofing and wanted you to see what I had found.
Yeah, this is a really cool video right here.
That's what I was trying to express to you, Nathan, in the beginning when we were talking about how the fields, you were talking about how they create the loops. And I was saying, well, it's like a compression, like breathing, right? That's what I meant.
Mm-hmm. But look, there's like a tight wind in the middle, and then there's like a loose wind on the outside, like you were explaining.
Yeah, I think that point could be refined and get a more better, cleaner version. But that was just one little point in the Julius that I found, and when I saw it working like we hope the Graviflyer will do, I just had to send it to Nathan.
Yeah, that's nice because it has to have the pump.
Yep.
And it was weird because you don't get no sound out of it, so I know it's a frequency below hearing.
That would
It
be
might
correct.
be ultrasonic. It could be a dog whistle sound, but I think it's subsonic.
That was the
Well,
frequency that blew out my hearing aid.
Oh, really?
By the way, hitting the pump, it blew out my hearing aid.
see,
had to
I
get replaced.
can't tell if it's super low or not because I have this weird ability to hear a dog whistle. I had my hearing checked. It was aching one day, and they did the tests, and I'm actually just right below a dog whistle. Like I can hear it and a little bit more. I hear really high frequencies.
Can you hear this?
Yep,
Not at all.
absolutely. You can. I absolutely can hear that. It sounds like air flowing with a high pitch whistle along with the airflow. Yeah. That's crazy. I didn't realize it was actually, I thought everybody could do that.
Oh, well, in this one book, Fractals, Chaos, and Power Laws by Schroeder, it says right in it that the hairs, the basilar membrane hairs in our ears are spaced 1 millimeter apart. And that allows for us humans to actually hear the Brownian motion of the atmosphere.
Oh.
Particles moving. Brownian motion is what Einstein would fill a glass of water and say, see the sea monkeys, they're alive. You know, it was Brownian motion. You can see it and you can hear it if you're sensitive.
You'd have to be pretty sensitive, though, or at least in a quiet space, along with your sensitivity.
Or don't stand in the front row at rock concerts and you'll retain your hearing.
You know what? Maybe that's why I've never been to a rock concert. I had tickets for Pink Floyd, center stage, third row, and because I made bad decisions as a kid, I got locked up one day before the concert.
Oh,
So I've never been to a concert ever.
I've been to a bunch of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if it
I just
kills
went
the
to see
high.
Dream Theater in Detroit not that long ago.
I wonder if it kills the high frequency ability in your ears.
No, a bunch of saws would do that.
Well, at work, and I work construction, they have a bulletin board, you know, those safety bulletin boards, and it tells you, you know, what decibels the human ear can take and how long. Like you can take this many decibels for this many hours before it starts to do permanent damage.
Yeah, jet engines and thunder strikes are around 120 decibels.
I like thunder strikes.
Me too.
Not so much jet engines, but thunder strikes are awesome.
I always wanted to put the bar in the sand and see if I couldn't get the pattern to come out in glass underneath it. I want to
Just
try that one time.
Just don't do what Benjamin Franklin did and fly a kite in a thunderstorm.
He did more than that, though. He had a key that was coming down. It was conductive, and he was grounded out. So if you think,
Oh, was he? I didn't hear about that. Okay.
Yeah, well, it's very
I was
shoes.
just making a joke.
Yeah, there was a little more to it. If you look at the picture and you read what happened, you kind of surmise that I wouldn't say he was the first one to find Tesla's electricity, but he definitely understood, or the person that put him in that position understood what electricity is and how it flows.
That makes sense. He grounded himself out because I don't know, like it just seemed a little silly that anybody would do that without doing some, you know, research into, you know, like the basics, I guess. I don't know.
It's like
It
a
seemed
classic picture of the way electricity flows downward, so to speak, to ground, and
It
how
doesn't surprise me how censored everything is, our own history, you know. Like I'm going based off of what I learned in school, you know. They didn't teach us that he was grounded out.
Yeah, I look at it as symbology, that picture, because that picture's famous. It's everywhere. Why?
Yeah.
Right? There's a purpose. So what's the purpose? And then you start looking at every little symbol in that picture, how the electricity flow, everything. And you look at the story, and yeah, I believe it's.
I need to revisit that now. Thanks, Gerald.
Well, the Freemasons put everything in there. They hit a lot of stuff in the symbology.
Yeah,
That's what they're all about.
The way
Like you were showing the square and the compass.
Yeah,
the Freemasons.
Oh, like in Divine Science, how I put the fingerprint of God, the vortex mass symbol on top of the Freemason symbol, and then you overlay that in Washington. And where's the Washington Monument? It's right where the zero is, the 0 point. And there's a big obelisk there.
You're right, Ben, that B. Sears showed the compass and the square actually earlier. I don't think you were watching, or you were out.
No, I wasn't here.
Yeah. Interesting.
Tools.
Yeah. And it's if you know where to look, you can find it everywhere. And I'm starting to see it everywhere. But that was like the first revelation where I was looking at that. And when I was doing research for that documentary, I was like, wow, you know, and it's like, you know, it's fascinating because what are the connections there between the Freemasons and maybe Sanskrit text math, you know, like the math from the Sanskrit text?
Huge. They had the secrets of the pyramids and how they worked and why they worked.
Can I make a comment on that?
Please.
Yeah,
I'll
of
put
course.
up.
There's a YouTube video called oh God, I can't remember, Sanskrit and binary, or how Sanskrit and binary are connected. So the language,
Very interesting.
Yeah, I'd be interested in that.
it made me think, because I've got this system I'm working on that uses a 1x4x9 matrix, like the obelisk in 2001, the squares of 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
So you got 4 rows of 9 numbers. You can put the alphabet and the numbers on there. Well, if you take it as like a block, you can put 26 letters of the English alphabet around the edges. Up top, you'll have a rim of 11 for the 20 of 11 and 11 for the 22 Hebrew. That leaves you 2 rows of 7 going down the middle for 14. So far, I've found, I don't know if it's Farsi. There's a module in VCV Rack that I use. Oh, I wanted to show you guys, but after seeing what she's got, I don't know if I want to even go to VCV Rack. But anyway, the 14 slots could fit the 14 Upanishads from Sanskrit, which is the basic chant mechanisms for their whole prayer system, and the three languages would all fit. So the binary system that the guys talk about in Sanskrit in the video is Cantor's dust. The same fractal. That's their binary thing. It's weird.
The version of it or whatever.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's a dust. It's so wild. Maybe I could find that and we could
Yeah, it's
I wanted
insane.
to
A lot
share
of
something.
most people don't realize that, Oppenheimer, he based a lot of his theories on the atomic bomb from the Sanskrit text. Tesla, the same thing, the Sanskrit text. It all goes back to the ancient wisdom.
So I wanted to share this, guys. We were talking about inner Earth and how it looked like a loop. Just imagine 2 of these, one upside down to the other, and you see in there, right there, they have the crystal pattern in it, and they're also telling you about the magnetosphere. Okay, they're telling you the answer, just like you guys both came up with. Okay.
Yep. Synchronicity.
Gerald, tell them about your theory about the Ankh. I always was fascinated by that.
Oh, it's a motor. It's also
motor and a tuning fork. I was always fascinated with that theory. When you told me that blew my mind. I was like, what?
Yeah, I believe it had to do with if the stones were levitated, and this is a theory I've been working on. And I finally found a stone I can try it on. Basically,
Nice.
the Ankh was like it was like a resonator, one part of a resonator, and the other part was the Ptah, I think it's called PTAH. PTAH. It was like a long-standing pole with what looked like sort of like a odd golf club on the end.
Oh,
I
the staff,
believe
yeah.
Yeah, I believe that they would, and I'm not fully got my theory formed yet, but from where I'm at now, I believe that they somehow through resonance drill a hole into the stone. They take the Ptah, they put it through, they use the Ankh, and it connects through to the top. They smack the Ankh, it creates a resonance within the stone. And because the stone is made out of limestone and there's quartz in it and every other thing that they know how to resonate, I believe that the stone's polarity shifted and made it weightless. And it gave it the ability to be pushed by hand. Just a theory. And the fact that it's a motor, well, I've seen before, and it was a guy from Africa, I believe it was, or it might have been Southern Africa, I'm not sure. But he had taken it and put a magnet on the bottom and added wire to the both outer parts as positive and negative, and the Ankh began to spin.
That's cool.
So if there was a lodestone sitting underneath it and they had the ability to create wire in any way, shape, or form, as we all know, the Baghdad battery, you're going to make that onk spin. And if it's a tuning fork and it's spinning at a high rate, it's going to resonate and create sound. Now you've got sound, you've got spin, and you've got vibration. That in itself might resonate with the stone if you have the right frequency.
Right. And then also the Baghdad battery, regarding that, you know, a lot of people think it's just like an acid battery, but if that was filled, if they had a water jug filled with like, you know, what they called manna or, you know, plasma infused water or, you know, cavitated water, which we know is not very hard to do with just, you know, geometry and vibration. That's your power source right there. It's a great power source.
Well, the Baghdad battery was said to be like 1 or 2 volts only, right? But if you run it in series, you can get 12 volts. And who's to say they needed 12 volts? They may have known something about chemistry and.
But that just shows us, that just shows us they knew about electricity. So
I don't know. Like I said, it's a theory. If I float a stone, if I levitate one with this theory, you guys would be the first to know.
I mean, I found that article in Collier's magazine that said, you know, Tesla was quoted as saying, you know, like one of the marvels that I'm paraphrasing here, but one of the marvels of the ancient civilizations of the past is they had the ability to transmit energy.
Yep, I believe so. What's your take on it, Sears?
I think they did. I think we will too again.
Yeah.
If we don't destroy ourselves before then.
I hope not. I'm a little more optimistic, so I hope we don't, but I try to remain optimistic at least.
Well, we take it one day at a time, one smile at a time, and, you know, hopefully that's enough. What more can we do, right?
Well, if we have to, we'll just enjoy the mushroom party.
I'm a fun guy.
I'm bringing bread for toast. All right, there you go. Who's got the marshmallows?
Oh, weird.
No, I was thinking more. I was thinking more of the mushroom cloud party.
Yeah, no, I got it. I'm just playing, right? Yeah. Yeah, I believe that Tesla studied the pyramids because
he made several trips there, from what I've heard.
I think he actually understood how they operated, and I don't know if he found the secret or through experimentation and studying the pyramids found the secret, but either way, he understood how the vortex was 2/3 from the top of the apex, and how grounding that out, you could collect electricity. Now, there's a lot more to it than that. There's hydrogen, oxygen, things we've discussed in the past. But
there is some text out there referring to Tesla working with crystals in his later, like in mid to late 70s. So he was definitely working on the piezoelectric effects.
So I want to show this to you guys. This is on a statue in Egypt. If you notice right in the center of there, there's 2 tuning forks.
Yeah.
And there's wire around both of them so they can resonate longer.
Huh.
The only way that you know that is if you put 2 tuning forks together and do it. Otherwise, you don't have any idea what that does or why you put it together that way.
Yeah.
So they absolutely knew.
You wouldn't even think about it.
Well, if you look at Tesla's original patents for his radio transmitter, there is no power source. There is no power source. He's using the ether as the power source.
Well, if you think about it, like if you put yourself in the shoes of someone who just made the realization, oh, they actually had the ability to do this like thousands of years ago, and I have the capacity to learn, you know, electrical engineering, that would just give you a drive and an obsession to like learn how they did it and try to reverse engineer. So I could just imagine, you know, he just had this revelation and just had this obsession, you know, after, and he just was obsessed in trying to crack that. That's
Well,
what
I
I
think
imagine, at least.
See, what I think that Tesla rediscovered was something that the ancients knew. They knew about longitudinal waves.
Mhm.
The,
Yeah, I
and
should.
Tesla, and I think Tesla, caught on to it and figured out this is the energy source of the ancients. They knew about this energy, and
Rediscovered's the right word.
Yeah, rediscovered.
Rediscover, yeah. That
On
makes sense, though.
On the topic of those tuning forks,
Yeah.
I think it was Hathor's temple. If she was responsible for like healing and all that, they found these tools. They're little rattles, they were calling them. Saying they were for ritual. But the rattles look like tuning forks, and then in between they've got these cross pieces with like little coins all over them. And when they're in the healing temple, they would rattle and shake those over the individual. They emit ultrasonics.
that were
Ultrasound was
affected.
part of their medicine. Can I say that word?
Yeah.
So I'd stay away from it, but
We gotta stop because
Okay, medicine.
I know what
energy teaching.
yeah.
we
all
can
get
talk about that offline.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, ultrasound was part of their thing.
It's difficult. I understand.
Now,
Yeah, we all want to go there.
I did go a group. What
all
he's
the-
describing, sorry,
Go
what
ahead.
you were describing, there was another culture. I forget it was the Incas or who it was, but they had these little bags made of leather, and what they would do, they would put smashed up quartz crystal in these bags, and when they shook them, they created the triboluminescence effect and gave off light. I'm not sure if that's relating to what you're talking about, but I do know of this method, what they were doing.
That's American Indian culture.
Right. Yeah.
Pixie dust. Oops. Yeah.
Well, that can be talked about. It's just the other part of it, right? That it does for you, or apparently that's
Okay.
as far as I can go.
We can
Well,
talk mechanics, but not effect.
Yeah, it's sad, but that's true.
Well, the
When we're
triboluminescence.
offline,
I think that triboluminescence that you get from quartz crystal, when they hit each other, it creates a natural light. And you could actually do that too with rock salt. If you take two pieces of rock salt and you smash them together, you'll get light.
Well, quartz crystals, the piezoelectric effect,
That's right.
it does not take much pressure to cause a piece of quartz to give up electrons.
That's
It
right.
only needs to be put under pressure.
Yep.
Sound waves are enough pressure to cause quartz to liberate electrons that are in the lattice.
I told
right.
you.
You can sing them
And-
free, huh?
And you know why I use my piezoelectrics in my pulse motor. They increase the potential 50-fold. Like,
Yep, it's an
major.
energy translator. Mechanical energy gets translated into electricity, or electricity gets translated back into mechanical, giving you vibrations. Your piezoelectric. It's a two-way street.
Okay, so would you say that like water pressure on top of a very large crystal would have the same effect?
It would need to thump it occasionally,
Yeah, like
Yeah.
a
or
rising.
be on it as just gravimetric pressure.
Water hammer.
Boom!
Got
And
it.
that-
Water hammer.
And that
You know
backs
what?
up
I have
Gerald's.
so many
Yeah.
plumbers how to actually initialize water hammer, because I've had so many drains where if you get the valve just right, you can get the water hammer. You'll get water hammer and ultrasonic coming off it. And I'm like, oh my God, I could use that. And I'm like, how do I do this? And they tell me, oh, I don't know. We're totally strict about trying to avoid water hammer.
Yeah. By the way, when you have a pyramid structure in the top and the bottom, anytime that you have small over big, it'll pull to the direction of small. So they say it's a pump for water. That's exactly what it's doing. It's the biggest plunger in the world. It's just pulling that water right up.
Yeah, your experiment that you do with your cones where you're pushing them between capacity plates.
Yeah.
I play with that idea with pancake coils.
Nice.
With back plates I put metal plates behind them to act as either capacitor or a backplane that reflects it. And these little guys, if you want to find small pancake coils that are perfectly wound for you, go out and look for like the little Verizon modems that they used to sell for hotspots back when it was 2.5. You can open it up and pull these little perfectly wound pancake coils out.
Interesting.
So don't frown when you drive past Goodwill.
Heck yeah. Good. So, yeah. That's like my shopping place. Thrift store and Goodwill.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
I like going there myself.
Watch that.
Yeah.
I'm so close I can walk to mine.
What was
Nathan,
that?
who was
piece?
that guy that said someone's going to be on doing water hammer research? I'd like to see that link.
Oh,
I'm not getting any chat in this.
sorry. Give me a second. Let me look it back up.
Oh, there they are. I'm in private chat. I got to learn my software too.
It's okay. We were all there at some point.
To help with the studies, guess what I got? Today, Eric Dollard's book number 3 just came out in this series. Electromagnetic Induction and Its Propagation. Work by Oliver Heaviside. He's continue it. The 3rd book just came out. Mine's on the front porch today.
Nice.
Any spoilers?
Him and Aaron have given me permission that as I work my fractal math and discover correlations to his work in the books, I can go ahead and share out of his books the correlations. So I already have permission. I went to the lab and chatted with him. And
Nice.
Yeah, that's
mine are
awesome.
autographed.
Oh, I'm jealous now.
That's the way to do it.
That's cool. Yeah, that's really neat.
Yeah, Eric Dollard's a legend in this work.
Yeah, honestly, I hadn't heard of him before I was introduced to this group, and I started looking into him. So I'm still learning what he has to say. But everything I've watched on his videos and stuff so far has kind of like been mind blowing.
I've watched a couple of the seminars, but I don't have any of his books. There's a lot more information in his books, I'm sure, than his seminar. Because you're only 2-3 hours, right? Well, the first one was an hour and a half, I think. Sorry.
I like as much as I like a physical book, sometimes I like to get a digital book as well, so I can easily like look things up, like search for them. But I do like having a physical book in front of me when I'm reading.
Yeah, the most shocking one that I heard from him when he was discussing about the sun's hollow. It's not solid.
Huh.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
apparently RCA. He did a 4-year study when he was working at RCA, and they pretty much concluded that the sun was hollow.
They never release that information publicly, or?
They would release it, but everybody would dismiss it because that's not the regular, the Einsteinian science wants us to believe, right?
Right, but RCA or the company or whoever was researching officially said, "Hey, this is what we found." Well, that's at least something to take and look into, at least.
See, the problem was at that time in the the late 70s, early 80s, Commonweal was basically destroying RCA. They were picking it apart piece by piece and destroying everything. The equipment, the knowledge, everything was being destroyed. And
what is RCA was a company?
Yeah, Royal. I got a blank here. Radio Corporation of America. Got it.
Wow. Okay.
And they sold stereos.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's RCA. I see. Okay, that's the RCA manufacturer that I see.
See, Tesla was the original guy who started RCA, and then Marconi came in, and then you had Alexanderson come in, and try to circumvent all of the Tesla patents to make radio. And Tesla was kind of going along with him, but he eventually faded away because, our Marconi at that time was in several patent wars. He was using 17 of Tesla's patents to make his radio. So him and Alexanderson, they had to do what they could to circumvent the patents and go in a completely
Right.
different direction. Because at that time, Tesla wanted to go longitudinal. They wanted to stay Hertzian, right? Hertzian waveform. So that's how they were able to circumvent and go in a different direction. With Hertzian, you have almost complete losses.
And they built an empire off of Hertzian.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, well, that makes sense. Thank you. That makes a lot of sense. It's a good backstory.
Yeah. So, yeah, some of the stuff he's. I'll actually go on a Eric Dollard binge, and a whole week I'll just watch all his old, lectures and stuff like that, just to kind of get my brain back into gear again. Because
No, I understand. I do the same thing.
The way he explains everything methodically makes it very easy to understand. And that's very important. And the knowledge like this has been lost. So I get myself up to speed again because I do forget stuff over time, kind of refresher course, right?
The only thing with Eric Dollard is he gets really technical, and ultimately he's using Tesla's system, or at least the same system Tesla was using in order to propagate.
He was the only guy to actually replicate Tesla's patents right to a T. He says the problem today is they don't replicate exactly what he did. They try to modify stuff and change it. He says you have to read the information that he wrote down and follow it step by step exactly how he made it to a T. Then you've recreated what Tesla made. But everybody thinks, okay, well, I'm going to change this a little bit and modify this a little bit. And in the end, you're not getting the results. It says you have to methodically go step by step and see what the patents actually tell you to do. Then you'll get the effects that he claims happened, right? So he's pretty much the only guy that he knows of that actually has done this, right? Especially all the stuff he did at, where was it, Landers, I think, back in the desert 80s. Yeah, and near Landers, he did it back in the early 80s. He was actually using the ground as the antenna.
Yep.
He did some pretty cool experiments with that.
That's the same thing Tesla was doing. Just using the ground to transfer energy. It's like
No, he was recreating his experiment. So he followed the patents right to a T and got the effects.
Oh, okay. I get it.
Right. So
yeah.
He actually made the transmitter and the receiver. He was using the ground as the medium on where it was traveling to.
Yeah, single wire electrical return. SWER.
Yep.
Yeah.
One wire.
Yep. Actually, there's yeah, we were talking about that earlier, and using a homopolar generator to do it, and how the old meters that they used once they canceled Tesla are actually that very same thing.
Yeah, it's the homopolar generator. Yeah, I did a whole thing on this. If you get the old Westinghouse meters that have the aluminum disc in it,
yeah.
If you hook it up right, because I remember back when I was a kid, back in the early '80s, I would hear these things on the side of the house rumbling, and it turns out when you start drawing current off it, the wheel slows down, and the current is actually generated in the meter. It's not coming from the actual power station. The power station is just a trigger. That's all it is.
Yep.
So,
I have one of those meters. I'm going to find it and I'm going to put it together.
Yeah, hook it up. because
Yeah.
he said, I'm trying to remember the guy who was actually working on this. William Lynn, that's his name. William Lynn. You can look him up. He's put out a couple of books. So he took one of the meters and he hooked it up in his house, and he reduced his power consumption by 35%.
Nice. Is that Ling or Lang?
Lang,
Lang.
William
Okay.
Lang. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He's put
I do.
the cult of ether physics. That's his book.
Right. That's where I heard that.
Yeah, cult of ether physics. A friend of mine had 2 volumes of it. I was actually able to read them. Yeah, they're really good. And Dollard actually endorses this guy. He says he's right on the money.
So if we take into account the single wire electrical return along with the home puller generator in each single home, because they state that they're meters, you're talking every person in the world, well, every person in the Western world has a free energy system in their house.
We got Ray hooked up to the house. See, back in those days, we didn't have the power stations we have today. So all they needed was 100. All they needed was like 120 volts that would save 1 amp. That was enough to trigger the circuit inside the meter. So those
That
2
sounds
big
about
coils, yeah, the 2 big coils inside that meter. That's where the current was being generated, right there. With the
Yeah, there's one solid line, and then there's 2 coils that are on either side of the disc that spins.
Right.
Yeah,
that's right. So everybody thinks it's a meter. Meanwhile, they didn't realize it was a free energy device right at their freaking house.
Wow. So Tesla did it, and they just turned it into a meter.
Well, even GE and Westinghouse, they didn't know what it was. They didn't know what it actually did. What Tesla did, because he put a big fat meter on top of it to make it. Hey, it's a meter. It tells you your watt hours. Meanwhile, he's got the generator right behind that sweet little meter.
Just
So
like
the
he
way
did with the Tesla coil. The Tesla coil is a receiver as well as a transceiver. So it's the same thing. He inverted the circuit. And, oh, wow, man. The guy is such a genius.
See, he was cryptic on how he did stuff. Because he knew he was going to get stopped by the powers to be. They did to a great extent, but at least some of the stuff that he put out, he was able to build it in a way that hopefully down the road, some smart people might actually figure it out.
And in the end, he got into fractals and geometry. It was in his book. He was talking about it. One of his books. But I'm not sure if he continued research on it. I know he was, before he died, he was into sacred geometry and fractals.
Yeah. Well, apparently, I heard an interview Art Bell did back in 2016, just before he died. Oh, sorry, 2015, he did the interview. And he spoke with a guy that worked on time travel. He was actually part of the experiments and Project Pegasus, the Philadelphia experiment, all that stuff. He explained that the naval intelligence basically put out a PSYOP about the Philadelphia experiment. It says the real Philadelphia experiment was conducted at Long Island, and it was done with a different ship. And all the technology on board was based on Tesla's research. There you go.
Yeah, I heard that too.
So he says by I think it was 1970, they have mastered wormhole technology. By 1970, it was mastered. So his father was part of the project, and he was a young kid at that time. He was actually used for time travel experiments. They actually used their kids. And one of the kids that was involved, I forget the guy's real name, but we know him today as Barack Obama. He was part of it.
Okay, hang on 1 second, guys. Sears, you there?
Yep.
Hey, on the very bottom by where it says post comment, there's a little drop down for your name. Are you clicking just a single one? Because you keep going up like 4 different answers.
I think it's because 5 people are streaming.
Nope, because ours come out one at a time. So yeah, if you click down, just drop the drop box and look for your name on there.
Does his name? I think it only shows up if he's got his channel open. Like,
oh, okay, that's probably what it is then. It continues to say all.
I've been laughing because I did the same thing.
Yeah, Gerald's famous for it. He speaks for all of us.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't sure how to start YouTube and then be able to come in here and record, and so I just jumped in here.
No, I'm with you. I've been learning.
Would I be able to get a copy of this when we're done so I can post it on mine?
Absolutely. Not only that, I wish you were here earlier. I would have showed you how to hook it to your channel. So you may have to go through.
It'll go there, but I don't know how to hit record when someone else is running it. Oh, do I hit stream this to your audience and then that? Oh,
yeah.
See, there you go.
Mine. Okay, I didn't see that button.
But I think you have to go ahead and do ahead of time. You have to put it in ahead of time.
That's how I got that one video to you. Okay, I didn't know that I could stream to YouTube at the same time with that button. I was down here looking for a record button. Thank you. Okay. Next time will be better.
We're getting there.
Yeah. Took me a little while. I'm still on Nathan's system.
Oh, on the systems, if I might make a point, I won't dig it all out the show.
Yep.
I was just doing some looking at it after I dropped all my papers the other day, and I told you I made some real big connections. I didn't know it, but sitting in my pile of answers, and I mean, I have a whole suitcase. This thing is full of my math. Literally, books I have written on golden ratio and math and all of this. But anyway, when it fell out and I was picking it all back up, I noticed that right sitting in it was 6.31 something or another. It turns out that is the plank length in inches, not meters. So it wasn't fitting my math, so I kind of left it aside. I go, well, it's something, but I don't know what it is. When it fell, I noticed, and I'm going, holy shit, I have a connection not only to the fine structure constant, but the Planck length. So it makes
completes it.
It makes me feel that I'm getting closer to an electrical theory using fractals.
Nice.
Yep.
I showed it to Eric Dollard, and he checked my math. But he said, you have no boundary conditions. I didn't know what that meant. He goes, without boundary conditions, I can't make heads or tails of it. So I came home and was studying boundary conditions. And that's where I found that one with P that has a negative factor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I learned my boundary conditions. And so he showed me right where to go and take this and lead it. That's why I bought his books, and I'm trying to make the two systems match.
Nice.
Because if I get his backing, we're millionaires and we're all going to have gravel flyers.
I got a question for you here from Ian. In numerology, do you use base 10 or mod 9?
Like I said, in my numerology, I could show those graphs again. I use the ABC 1 through 9, just like everybody, but I make a fraction out of each word or name, first, middle, and last names. You bring the vowels up to the top. Those are your personal vibrations. Those are inner vibrations. And the ones you show the world are your consonants. That's your denominator on the bottom. Then you make a fraction out of it, and you will get a fractal. That's your personal. No other names might be similar, but their middle and last names are not going to have associative vibrations. So everybody has a 3 fractal. Oh my God, I'm just realizing this.
That's their code.
We all have Yeah, we all have a specific pattern.
Yep.
Holy
It has to
moly.
do with their name.
I learned by teaching. Thank you.
See, there you go.
Holy cow, yeah.
I love it.
But anyway, yeah, base 9, and then I make a fraction of it and play. The Sierpinski's gasket in Mod 2 looks exactly like the Pascal's triangle for solving binomial equations.
I wonder what mine would look like. I
It's
don't
all
want to do it on air, but I have all the vowels in my name.
All 5?
Yep.
Oh, well, then you are a very diverse man.
Yeah, I always state I'm a jack of all trades, master of one.
Okay, there you go. The vowels proves it. Yes. Their inner accomplishments.
Interesting. I never thought of it that way. I'm gonna have to apply your math. I'm blown away.
Yeah, and my interpretations for the 1 through 9 came from 1938. So the ones you find in books nowadays, they put in more terms that sound aggressive. You know, like they're trying to make, no matter whose name you do, it's going to look, I don't know. It just seems weird modern day as compared to the books where they were giving it to us back then. I got into this at the time when the establishment started taking all the occult and metaphysics books out of libraries. And if they did put the books back in, they would tear them into 2 or 3 books and make you buy all the pieces.
It's all about the money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or hiding the truth also, because they know, if you think about it, if the Anunnaki put something in our genes that modified us, we are artificial intelligence. We are the AI that they are afraid is going to get intelligent. Not that stupid search engine they're calling an AI. It's us they're afraid of.
Well, they're afraid of us. I would agree with that 100%.
Because we're learning, we're communicating, and we're sharing. We're going to see through the veil of BS. And yeah, we're going to.
What I just got, like, in my mind was that your math that provides a fractal for each name, that fractal is a genetic code to that person and how they can become recombinated back to their original DNA before disease. Well, I'll stop. Just,
you know
what I mean? Like,
yeah,
interesting.
No doubt. I could make a program you could type your name in, and because like I said, every other numerology system you find today, I swear, you won't find any that tell you to put the vowels up there. They tell you just to straight up become either a 1 through 9, that you have nothing to actually, it doesn't give you something to make an equation out of.
See, and that makes sense that if like you said, the Anunnaki messed with us in one way, shape, or form, perhaps they messed with the genetic code through sound. And that sound was created through fractals.
Well, if everything is made from the ether, electrons and light, to some entity, radio is a sound. Light is a sound. It's a wave, a vibration. So, yeah.
Oh, you got me thinking now. The connections are just limitless right there.
Well, wait till I do my presentation titled, Did Nikola Tesla Discover Time Travel?
I'll watch that.
Sorry, go ahead, Nathan.
No, I was going to say, I'll watch it any day.
I've stayed away from that subject because
I got 3 points that say yes.
Yeah.
One's mathematical, one comes from a physics professor, and one comes from one of Tesla's own inventions.
I got an experiment that states you're correct. I'll say that much. That's why I've stayed away from time. The whole subject of time, time travel, time dilation, pausing time, time energy that gets imparted into each cell of your body through fractals, which could recombinate your DNA. I've stayed away from it, but it's my presentation, so I would love to see your presentation, and I'd love to do mine before yours because mine's the intuitive part to your math, if I'm correct.
I work with intuition too. I just realized one day, since Marco made the coil, I kind of followed his stuff for a while and I was getting into it, you know. But then I was like, well, I'm not sure where I can use this. So I was going back to what I'm doing, you know, taking care of my pets. But, oh, geez, I just lost the train of thought.
Intuitive. You're intuitive. And Marco Rodin, his coil. See, I'm not, I've studied Marco Rodin's coil system. I'm not a lover of it, so to speak.
I would like to have one. The thing, they are beautiful.
I built one. I built a couple actually, but they're not my cup of tea. It doesn't do for me what I was sort of directed to. So, I mean, all the power to them and everybody playing with it. That's not
I'd
an
like
insult.
to try different experiments with them myself. Like I say, attach the magnet to a shaft and see if you can actually force it to give it enough torque to turn a generator.
Yeah.
If not, then that conic section thing where the vortex is built up and the energy collimates and comes out the bottom, I'd like to see the coil turn sideways, like maybe a pair of them, like Stargate, and put a fluorescent tube between them and see if you can play with that black plane in the middle that Eric says is the counterspatial plane.
Oh, I never thought of that as an experiment. Oh my gosh.
If you get longitudinal, you're going to shove shit through that fluorescent tube.
I get longitudinal all the time.
So one of the experiments that's on my list is using a magnetic rotary on the coil. I just don't have the equipment at the moment, but I will eventually be doing that.
Even if it's just a little toy motor, if it spins it and creates enough energy, then you'll find that what angle to set your magnet at, like the Earth is tilted at 23.5. So you might have to give the magnet a precessional value like that so that it can force the... Anyway.
Yeah, no, that's going to be very cool.
Ether movement. And it requires magnetism to move it.
I was just over there trying to experiment with some of the circuitry, the reference circuit and the output circuit of the coil, and you know, it's doing the same thing it's doing with the other stereo amp receiver, which is pretty cool.
This goes to what you just said. I made a coil that I call the Peace Core transformer. It's basically 3 legs of ferrite cores, and then it's
your video.
Okay, so you've seen the vortex coil above and the vortex coil below. I'm pulsing the primary of the vortex coil on the bottom, and I'm pulsing the secondary of the vortex coil up top, and the two energies are imploding and creating more energy in the system itself. So if your theory is correct about creating a black hole, or in this fluorescent tube being able to move what I call the null zone, then I should be able to do that at that rate. Like I should be able to show that because of the way that Peace Core transformer operated.
So maybe you can set that experiment up.
I'm definitely. I just wrote it down.
Do you have 2 Rodins?
No, I have 2 identical vortex coils. Yeah, they're round. They're 2-inch, inch and a half, and 2-inch.
So I'd like to see them on each end of a fluorescent tube then. And
that's what I'm working on now.
To find out where your field actually creates the null. Because that's either a doorway to counter space, if you listen to Eric, or it's a zone that is like imitating the block plane or whatever that plane of inertia in a magnet, as
Yes.
Ken Miller says.
The block wall.
Blotch wall. Blotch
Yeah.
wall.
We talked about that earlier, actually. That's I pushed the blotch wall into the center of my coil, so the whole open core is basically the blotch wall. And then in the very, very center where it's all compressed, there's nothing. It's the null zone. No magnet will move, nothing. It's just right in the center. So very interesting what you're stating. If
So when it gets dark, if you have a laser pointer,
yep.
See if it reflects off anything, or if it goes through, or
I've
whether or
done
not
some
you're in the same.
experiments.
Check if you're in the same dimension still. Mirror and a laser.
You mean if the laser diffracts or
Does anything odd in that zone?
yeah,
If it
I've
goes all
seen
the way
how it
through,
is.
or if it somehow maybe is hitting something, even though nothing's there.
Okay, I don't like talking about this because I haven't redone the experiment to confirm it. So take this with a big bag of salt. I had my vortex coil running and I shot my 5-watt laser through it, and it should go directly straight. And it should be a thin line. But when it came out the other side, it wasn't a thin line.
So it spread out.
It spread out a little bit.
That's diffusion. That
I was
shouldn't
blown away.
happen. It shouldn't happen unless, I know ultrasound and lasers can travel together, and the ultrasound can affect the beam's travel and all, but you might have gotten something collimated along the line, and the laser could not. It was opening up the beam. That, I believe, is something I've been thinking about. If we have micro wormholes all over the universe, we got to have a way to wedge those puppies open.
And it's a vortex that does it.
Yes, and there are like at least 3 or 5 different really important different types of spirals.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that you have to have 2 inverted coinciding spirals to open a doorway. So the experiment that I did, it diffracted the laser to some degree, but I believe that if there was an identical coil on the other side of wherever the other side is, and they shot a red laser, because my laser was blue, I believe that they would have coincided and opened a hole. That's my theory on that, because it's a red-blue shift.
Well, I've been thinking since we're in 3 dimensions, we have to open it with at least 3 lasers. So I've been thinking about either monochromatic or 3 different colored lasers.
It's funny you bring that up with monochromatic, because I believe that one of the coils I've built, when it's using high voltage, produces monochromatic light. Like, I don't know how to explain that. I believe that all frequencies come off this thing. But you're not seeing the light from the coil. But when I look at the scope, I can see so many frequencies in that wave pattern. It blows my mind. I can't even count them because they're interlayered, right? So there's like a harmonics. Massive harmonics. Yeah.
Or it could be the timing of the oscilloscope.
It could be.
But with scalar, it's hard to know because this equipment is not built to measure it. I think that is one of the reasons why Eric Dollard prefers analog equipment and old meters.
That makes sense.
Because the digital is possibly, the digital may actually be programmed to keep something from us. Because back in the 80s, there was a guy named Benoit Mandelbrot that was working for IBM. He's the guy that studied them and found the Mandelbrot set. Well, actually, what he found first was Cantor's dust, right? That we got from Let There Be Light, the 063, that fractal I showed of the bars all messed up.
Yep.
if you think about it, the way it grows is powers of 2, which is exactly what binary computers were using. And at the time, everything was going over phone lines. So they were picking up Earth and space and the whole bit.
Right.
Okay, well, he was studying errors in their data. And it was, and no matter what time scale he looked, that fractal would pop up. And when they said that it was no matter what time scale, I was like, time technology? So what
Yeah.
IBM did to get rid of the errors, which hides that signal from us, is they created a CRC chip. It's a character redundancy thing. So if it comes through and it ain't right, it resends it, redundant, character correction.
Yeah.
CRC chips. What they do is they filter out the Cantor's dust fractal.
Oh.
Now, here's a weird thing you just made me realize. If the Cantor's dust fractal is exactly what I discovered comes from Let There Be Light, they are hiding the light from us because they're filtering the dust out of our communications and giving us a freaking computer black screen, dark mirrored resemblance of God's work.
Boom.
Man, I love
Nice
this.
job. Nice job.
Wow. I am so, my hair is so charged right now. I just realized how they're hiding it. Holy
Awesome. So that means that when we're picking up energy from the ground, we're more than likely picking up that light fractal. If you're correct.
I'm going to get a friggin' old modem and I'm going to find the CRC chip and I'm going to pull it out and cross-reference it and hook it up to some wires and see if we get something that we're actually not getting from anything else.
That would blow my mind. That'd blow my mind. I know that there's a signal. Excuse me.
Wow.
There's a signal. There's a frequency that comes from the ground, and I can't isolate it, and I can't show it on an oscilloscope, but it shows up as power, as voltage in my system when I'm using it. So I don't know if it's that fractal, but
here's an experiment to check along the lines of electricity and the ground. Ground actually connects all of our electronic equipment to a zero frequency point. It's like, anyway, if you get SDRs out, you can see that zero. And I've even been working on trying to tune down into the negative, playing with the way you adjust your bandwidth.
Yeah.
And then switch to sidebands so that you chop one side off. And now all of a sudden you're over here into the negative. And I listen to shit I'm not supposed to be able to hear. But anyway, on that concept where we were talking earlier, okay? There's an Earth frequency. There's the Schumann resonance frequency. I would like to see someone go and check out this idea. Every country on the planet uses something between 50 to 55 hertz, except for America. We use 60 hertz.
Yeah. So does Canada.
It's almost like this nation was planned somehow for something, because check it out. The wavelength of a 60 hertz signal is the same width as the United States. We are under one big we're in one big jump rope at 60 hertz. Because the wave extends across the continent.
I can demonstrate the difference between 60 hertz and in resonance right now with the system, if you like.
Well, it's an audible, not audible. Well, it's kind of an audible tone, yeah. The point is the wavelength when they hook up the electrical power system. Now, here's a fractal connection to the electrical power system. Go out and look at the 3 power lines. 2 of them will be really close together, which is the 0.618, and the other one will be way over here like a square. They're separated at the golden ratio. And yet nobody talks phi physics when they're talking 3-phase power.
that goes right to what I was saying earlier about them actually collecting the power. We're the ones making it, not them. And we're
I think
sending
it's
it
hooked
through.
up as a crystal radio, just like Eric does. I do believe
Oh, that's mind blowing. Now you're. Oh man, that just goes to my theory. Absolutely. I think we've proven free energy like 3 times over today.
Yeah.
Check this out. Here may be the way that you tap it. It's a 3-phase system, right?
Yeah.
You put an antenna in the air. You put a ground rod in the ground.
Yeah.
You know where the third rail is that's grabbing Schumann? Everybody's looking up
In
here
between?
at power lines. They're forgetting there's another set of 60 hertz lines. Railroad tracks. And they've been having a hell of a lot of trouble lately. If you could
And
take
that makes
the
sense.
ground and the railroad track and the aerial, what would you get? And I've been thinking about where could I go to do that without being watched and stopped or shot or photographed. And so if someone lives near some, got a volt ohm meter and can get near some railroad tracks.
Gerald, don't
Wow.
have a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, you know what? Pretty freaking close, because I brought up railroad tracks many times to others.
Well,
And
okay. Here's one for you.
Ball
To the
lightning.
railroad
Ball of
tracks.
railroad. What's that?
You know what? If you take an electrolysis like a Joe cell or hydrogen cell,
Yeah.
it cancels out when you cross over a railroad track. It shuts down.
That says it all right there, doesn't it?
Anwar Gemari, is there a 0.63 factor or any kind of 0.63 fractal factor in programming a CRC code that's in the polynomials?
Who are you asking exactly?
Somebody in chat said he programmed CRC codes. I was just wondering if
Oh.
0.63 was a factor
Nice.
or 1 over 1.585.
I didn't catch that part. Yeah, railroad tracks. Ball lightning actually follows railroad tracks.
It's a grounding point.
Yeah. And you can trap electrons between 2 parallel conductors. The field between them, they actually found out, they didn't, know, but power lines have these little separate little like conduits of trapped electrons around them. And between the wires, they seem to dance in there.
Yep.
Almost like they've got us all segmented in these little RF cubes.
Wow.
Well, Eric Dollard says when you got the high voltage lines, so you got 40,000 volts going through each line, there's such a huge dielectric field being generated between the 2 lines. What happens is that's why they have to put the insulators, because what happens when that voltage is traveling, it's actually on the outside of the wire.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got that massive dielectric field between the 2 wires. It will actually start pulling the wires in.
Yeah.
When it gets now,
yes.
right. So what happens is when it gets to the point of saturation, you get the explosion, because there's only so many electrons you could shove in a bottle. When that space becomes too dense and oversaturated, that's when you get the fire.
Yep.
So a railroad track basically acts as a giant hairpin circuit for a train. Am I correct?
I know it cancels out the ley lines, right? So
yeah.
Perfect example. If you bring anything electromagnetic near, a railroad track, for some reason you start losing that magnetism because it's getting absorbed by that massive rail.
Yeah,
that's part of the reason why. Yeah, and that's what Joe, the guy who made Joe Cell in Australia, He said every time he drove his car over the railroad track with his hydrogen generator, for some reason it would just shut down. As soon as it got away from it, it worked fine. So obviously it's sucking that energy away and grounding it out.
That goes to what V. Sears was saying.
He could have drove through the cloud of trapped particles too between the tracks.
Could have.
Oh yeah.
Because if you think about it, I've always wondered, like, how did people know when people were coming and things like that, supposedly, back in stories I would read. And I found out there were these antennas, like you could put an antenna on top of a church with 6 coils going, or 5 coils going out.
Right.
Toroidal coils. You could actually detect a dog walking along and know, if you were recognizing the pattern on your scope, who it was or what it was that was going by the church.
Yeah. And know who did this? Know who was doing this?
Who?
Nathan Stubblefield.
Stubblefield coils.
Yes. He made a system. It was like a little grid on a table with electromagnets in 4 corners. And when anybody crossed onto his property, the little pendulum that was in the middle of those 4 inductors, it would start pulling it towards the inductor, basically in the direction of where that person was breaching his land. He could tell where you were coming from.
The military adopted that technology, and it's now been privatized, and it's sold as seismic detection.
Yeah,
that's the exact system that you have. It's a little ball, and it has 4 inductive coils that surrounds a little spring, and then there's electricity that goes through it, and it shows you the vibration of where you are. And they put multiple in the ground so that if you're walking over it, they know whether it's a deer, a human, whatever.
And that's what's
them everywhere.
Yeah, and that's what Stubblefield worked on. So I would research Stubblefield. He was onto quite a bit of stuff, actually even predating Tesla. So energy traveling through the ground, Stubblefield. Tesla was actually at his farm. And Einstein was there, Steinmetz was there. They all witnessed his radio system going through the ground. So, Tesla, he just rebranded longitudinal waves or radiant energy. That's where it came from, Stubblefield.
Nice.
He just rebranded it, called it radiant energy. So,
that's
where he got the idea.
I guess, right?
What's that?
Maybe Stubblefield told him or asked him to, because, Tesla's fame be easier for him to bring it out than somebody who wasn't.
That's probably what happened. What happened. Yeah.
But hey, I give Stubblefield credit. Sure, that's awesome.
Yeah, he was 50 years ahead of Tesla. So.
Wow. Man, I've learned so much today. It's just mind blowing. I don't know how I'm going to implement it all.
Yeah, I know my mind was blown by a couple of times today.
Yeah, craziness.
The best teachers. Honestly, the best teachers are the guys from the 1800s. Go back to the original guys: Steinmetz, Heaviside, Maxwell, Tesla. Study those guys. That's where everybody should be studying. Those were the real engineers. After Steinmetz died, the real electrical engineering ended.
Yeah, that's true.
For the people into vortex mechanics, you might get J.J. Thompson's book.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the math is a little crazy. Heaviside kind of simplified it.
Yeah.
The Heaviside component, I think, is a really, really huge thing in what you guys are playing with. So I would really embrace and study the Heaviside component, the electrostatics. The electrostatics, they propagate faster than the speed of light, faster than C. So that's why Tesla was doing what he was doing, because he knew with longitudinal waves, it's an impulse wave. It exceeds C. It's It's pi/2 to the speed of light. That's what longitudinal waves. So pretty much it's instantaneous propagation. So you could do a real-time conversation with somebody on Mars. It's instantaneous.
Pi/2 times the speed of light?
Yep.
Because there's a
Yep.
Thank you. I'm going to look at that. There's a corner in my thing I'm working on that Fractal Woman did where there was unknown physics. And I've got 3 of the corners of the matrices done, but the 4th one I'm having a little trouble making a connection in my math. I keep rewriting it and
pi/2
yeah,
to the
the
speed of light.
pi/2 is the thing that's tripping me. I got the square root 2 one okay, but yeah.
Right.
So
So
multiply it times
like
the speed of light.
okay, there's a video you can watch. Type in Eric Dollard and Chris Carson. They did a lecture together and they talk about this. It's on YouTube. You can look at it. Eric Dollard and Chris Carson, and they talk about this. So I suggest you watch that, and you'll be blown away. And the guy in the audience goes, "Well, he's exceeding C," and he goes, "What's the limit?" And Eric looks at him and goes, "What limit? There is no limit." And the guy's like, "What?"
That goes right along with my theory that, and I think Sears has the same theory, that Tesla found time travel, and I think that he passed that knowledge on to Otis T. Carr, and that's why the Utron was developed, at least to a degree. I think that it actually flew. I think it worked.
Yeah. Well, they went after him big time. They incarcerated him and shut the whole business down.
They wrecked his life.
So, yep. So it's pi/2 to the speed of light. Hopefully that can help you out.
Yeah, because
Wow. A couple of dollars I haven't seen.
that goes to the speed of thought.
Exactly.
So that would mean that.
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay, so that goes right along with what I was saying before.
Because Otis Carr's machine interfaced with the human brain. There was a blue crystal on the inside of the craft. You go into a meditative state when you're in the craft. That's how the time travel happens. You and the machine become one.
See, and I believe they had to be in the spirit. They used the meditative state, they used the mind to get into the spirit. And like
Where do you think
before, the power
go ahead. Where do you think the wormhole is? It's in your head.
Well, yeah. I think it's your genetic code that allows you to unlock the wormhole and turn mass to light and allow you to travel, turning light back to mass when you get through.
So this would explain why remote viewing is possible. How are you able to transport your mind through time and space to another location that you've never been before and accurately describe what's happening? Your mind, your thought is going through a wormhole.
Can I make a statement there?
Yep, please do.
Okay, you guys know about the frequencies of the planet Earth, right?
Yep.
There's like 12 hertz, 6 hertz.
7.83.
They happen, those all happen to be brainwave frequencies?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Beta.
Along the lines of what I said about 60 hertz, one 60 hertz wave is over 3,000 miles long. Just one wave, one single 60 hertz wave.
Mm-hmm.
That's clear across the country. A brain wave at 2 hertz, I haven't done the math, but I'm pretty sure that can stretch way out into the solar system. A 2 hertz brain wave. That wavelength would be so long with so very little movement. And yet, masters who can control the body temperature and stuff like that, they have been hooked up to EEGs and found that they can get into a alpha or theta state or whatever they want and get into these low frequencies and yet remain aware. So somehow their low frequency brainwave is having a really high frequency carried on it, like a carrier wave in a radio.
Right.
Wow. I
So
never
that wave
considered
extending out into space could connect to a lot of things.
Right. The same like Ingo Swann, when they were doing those mind experiments at SRI in San Francisco, he was able to move an interferometer over 2,500 miles away with his mind. It's in a lead shielding, type, box, and they use that to detect, neutrinos and earthquakes and all that. It's hermetically sealed. Ingelson said he was going to get there. He was going to go inside the device and he was going to move the pendulum. He did it with his mind. The CIA went friggin' nuts. They were all
Nikola
over
Tesla.
SRA.
Tesla did say visualization was key.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's how I build a lot of stuff. Not the coils, that was a little different, but I see things right in front of me. Like I used to call it the power of imagination, but basically, like I was explaining in one of my lives, I can look at my TV and in my mind pull it apart like a three-dimensional plasmatic form and see every part. And if there's something broken, I take the part out. In my mind, I put the part back in, put the machine, and if it works, that was the right part. If it doesn't, I'll pull it apart again. And it's just visualization at a high level as far as I'm concerned, right? But I mean, I trained in martial arts when I was younger, and I use breathing at the same time when I'm doing a lot of those things. And I could reduce my heartbeat down to a very low level because of the training I took. So I kind of wonder if you were to lower your heartbeat level to say, oh, I don't even know, 3-4 heartbeats per minute, would that mean that your thoughts, your conscious, what you're thinking of at that particular second would be pushed out further? Like, I kind of wondered.
Yeah, it probably would because it's at a larger wavelength.
I would think since you're not using so much energy to pump your heart, you would have more to direct.
Interesting. Sorry, it's just I'm just learning here. So yeah, asking questions.
Just to kind of put it in perspective, the transmitter that's in our everyday cell phone can propagate a signal from here to Mars within about 20 minutes. So
Wow.
The cell phone technology transmitter, that's what's in those rovers that are on Mars right now. So it takes 20 to 30 minutes and they can propagate a signal from Mars to Earth.
I'm glad I don't have a cell phone. Someone on Mars know what I'm doing.
Can I take a point about cell phones?
What's that?
Can I give my fractal view on the cell phone thing?
Please do.
Cell phones use a fractal pattern for their antenna because the cell phone has at least 5 radios in it, and yet it only has room for one antenna, and they're all at different wavelengths. But a fractal pattern, like the golden ratio, allows for all wavelengths to. So, yeah, in a certain way, you can transmit and receive up to 5 frequencies on a fractal antenna. The human being has 5 senses and a fractal DNA.
Absolutely. And you're right, they do have fractal antennas. I know that for a fact. Yeah, that's awesome. I love how you picked up on that. It's one of the ways that actually, if you had a fractal antenna or say a couple of fractal antennas inside one system, you could maybe, I don't know, locate somebody in the local area easily enough. Just a thought. right?
Yeah, it goes back to the remote viewing. That's, if you know how to do it, like, Pat Price or Ingo Swann, those great psychics back in then, they were able to tune into that and locate people and locate, architecture or people or military equipment, anything of the sort. They were able to find it, and they could be on the other side of the planet. And they can make a very detailed description of what they're seeing. So it's a everybody has it in them that they can do it. Some are better than others. You train your mind. Russell Targ has an app. It's called Psychic Trainer is what it's called, and you use that, and it develops your mind, so you can predict what's going to pop up on the screen before it does.
Interesting.
So, yeah, look up Ingo Swann. He's got a pretty good story. They put out a movie on him. It's called Third Eye Spies. It was on Amazon Prime. I'm not sure if it's still there, but that's the movie to watch.
Say that again.
Third Eye Spies.
Okay. I'll write it down. I'm old school. I still use a pen and paper.
Yeah. Yeah, watch the movie. It's actually a really, really good documentary.
Awesome.
And Russell Targ, he's one of the psychics. He's also blind. So
Wow.
that makes it even, yeah.
I've not seen that one. I saw Men Who Stare at Goats. I thought that was pretty good.
That's a good one, too. That's another really good one.
Yeah, and they don't try to squash it as nonsense.
Yeah, that's more of the sinister. This was the real science that they were doing at SRI back in the late 60s,
cool.
early 70s. So they were doing, guess who was involved in it too? You had Pat Price. Okay, he was probably the best psychic on the planet at that time. You had Ingo Swann. You had Russell Targ. Then you had Kit Green, if you know who that is. And what's his name? The other engineer guy, not Tom Falone. He does all the free energy stuff too. He's an older guy. It's on the tip of my tongue. Gerald, you probably know him. He's in California. He tests equipment and he does free energy stuff. He's a military guy. Why can't I remember his name?
You talking about the guy that's been on APEC?
No, not him. Shoot, can't believe I can't remember his name. If I remember, carry on. I'll try to remember it.
Okay, I hear you, man.
But kind of interesting. All these guys were involved either with the UFO technology or the free energy stuff. And Kit Green is all over the UFO stuff. If you get deep into the UFO stuff, Kit Green, his name keeps popping up over and over and over.
Yep. Yep. It's all over the UFO community and history, so to speak. Yeah, it's been an extraordinary freaking live tonight, you guys. I'm telling you, I have to bail right away, but
yeah,
man, I'm gonna have to meditate on all this information. Wow, and now I have like 4 inventions I have to catch up on because of you guys. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Hey, don't forget your circuits for Wednesday.
I got a couple there, and what is this? This is a follow-up. I said I would build this to test it. This is the Horseshoe PMH, right?
Okay.
And I built the Alexov's self-oscillating, self-charging circuit, and that I'll be showing as well. And then there's the Vortex Mithril coil. And I have one more thing that I'll keep in the basket and we'll tell you guys about that I'll show Wednesday. So that's kind of my breakdown. And then so there's the catch up. And now I have more work to do before Wednesday.
All
I'm
right, guys,
telling
I'm
you, I
gonna
really
jet.
do. What's that?
I'm gonna jet for the night. Thanks a lot for having me on.
Mike, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks,
And-
Mike.
Okay. Yeah,
Thanks,
take care,
Mike.
guys.
We'll have to
Okay,
talk
cheers.
offline, Mike, about that later.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Talk to you soon.
Later, man. V Sears, absolutely amazing. Amazing math. You've blown my mind so many times. If you don't come back, I'll be sad.
Well, I may make this like my daily ritual.
He's part of the group now. We're
Awesome.
all in.
I'm designing a room for you on the ship now. That's
We
it.
got him hooked.
After you did your thing, Nathan, and showed those ZVS heaters, and I realized I could make an induction heater out of it so I could repair my metalworking carving tools and stuff when I'm doing them. I went out and bought some ZVSs so I could build this shit and my induction heater. So
Very
I'm going to
good.
have that big 8-inch spark gap I showed you.
Oh, yeah, he's got a nice one.
It's going to make some noise.
Oh,
8-inch.
he's got a spark gap for a Tesla coil. He's going to set up.
I look forward to that.
Yeah, he's got a big spark gap, man. That's going to be just awesome.
Oh, that's beautiful. I can't wait to see that.
Cylinder, 2 inches deep inside of an 8-inch unit for sealing sewers or whatever. It
Nice.
perfectly sets up, giving you 7 cylinders with the space to put a ground spacer in between, so I can wire them up out here, and I can make it rotate either way.
Oh, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, they get noisy.
Oh, for sure. But it's worth the noise.
Oh, it is.
Now we got
Absolutely.
a saying for V Sears. Bring the noise.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want, you can just call me Vic or Victor or Bonsai or Dumbass or whatever. You don't have to keep saying V Sears.
That's what my brother calls me, dumbass. So we'll get it mixed up. You know what I mean? So is it Victor? Is that your name?
Yeah.
Gerald Victor. Okay.
Great
I'll
to meet you.
remember it for next time. All right. Thanks, Nathan, for having me on. It was good meeting you, Victor. And we will see you guys, I guess, very soon.
Yeah, see you on Wednesday.
See you on Wednesday. You guys have a
Gerald,
great
thank
night.
you for coming, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks
Thank
for
you guys
watching
for
for
being
me, everybody.
Later, Ben.
Bye,
You gonna
Sears.
shoot
Nice
me
to
a
meet you.
copy, Nathan?
Yeah, I'll send you a copy to your email.
Cool.
Yeah, I just want to check out Ben's experiment real quick before we
I
take
was
off for the
wondering.
night.
His lights. He's got a pattern flashing on them lights. Is that the generator, or is the coil giving back that pattern?
He's hooked it up to a
Yeah.
circuit, and he's got another circuit to it. So
Yeah, that's the output. That's literally just the raw power output of the coil from just 7.83 hertz.
oh, he's got his bigger coil hooked up now, and he's got the thing going.
Oh. Are both your coils the same size?
No. So the smaller, there's a smaller coil and a bigger coil, and I thought increasing the power would get the neodymium sphere to synchronize. You said it was just momentum, but I don't think it's just momentum, because I don't care how fast this ball is spinning. I take it right outside of the field and it just stops. There's no momentum unless it actually, on a few occasions I've seen it synchronize just a little bit, and I've taken it out like right here, and it's still spinning as long as it's at the correct angle, it seems. So, and then it just dies. But yeah, I think there's a little bit more going on than just momentum, but I haven't gotten it to synchronize yet. So I take it right out and it just stops, no matter how fast it's spinning, it seems like.
Could I pose an experiment for you?
Sure. Yeah, I'm down for anything.
Okay. Since the energy's being vortex downwards,
Mhm.
Put your coil to where you can put the magnet right in the middle,
Uh-huh.
but then slowly bring it down an inch and see if anything changes. Bring it down another inch, see if anything changes. See if you can find an area where the vortex maybe grabs that puppy.
Right. Yeah, it might be a certain depth inside
The
the core,
distance,
huh?
yeah, the same way voltage rises 100 volts per meter. Check if
Right.
that longitudinal underneath is.
Yes, that's a good idea. So I
within a
put it all the way
couple
down.
feet of me.
I put it all the way down. It seems like it's spinning a little bit more. Yep, there it goes. It's spinning a little bit more. Yeah, it just like you said, it needed to go a little bit more down. I had it propped up on a thing of tape. So
Because it
there
would
was.
seem to me, the smaller you make the coils and you get that diameter down, that spin is either going to null out or be so fast. Because there's such a thing as called a catastrophe, where the waves would just cross one another and just kind of null out, and you'd have this little closed zone.
Right. See, I get it in the perfect spot, and it'll kind of retain a little bit outside of the vortex. And then it just stops.
Are you tilting the glass?
Yeah.
Try to keep it flat.
Keep it flat.
Yeah, because you're putting friction on one side of the magnet.
That makes sense. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Yeah,
There we
get the
go.
friction off of it and right on.
Yeah, like you're right. It probably just needs to be flat on a flat surface, and it's just not. But I've seen people start it like this to get it real fast and then tilt it. So
The shape of the cup would matter. Some people might have a different shaped cup.
that's true, and I think
Left
the
angle.
sphere might be a little bit too heavy as well.
Well, yeah, if you're just using a tiny Arduino to power and all, it isn't going to deliver much current. But how much is your amp putting out?
So it should be putting out, I think, max 1 amps per channel, I believe. Oh wow, this is what. Let me check because
Wow, that red wire looks cool.
Yeah, he calls it Fireball.
yeah, it's the Fireball. So I'm gonna look up the amperage for this in a second. Let me set this down. I don't like to run the coil for too long at a time because without monitoring the voltage output, I have no way of knowing if it's actually outputting ozone. I don't have a detector here.
You'd smell it.
Yeah, you could smell it at a certain threshold, but it could be putting out a low level without notice. I mean, I did start to smell something off of the green coil when I cranked it up, but I think it's around 7 volts. They say that these coils will start to produce a small amount of ozone, but there could be so many different variables, like the imperfections. I think are what caused the ozone creation, but I could be wrong.
Had so much ozone in my garage, man, at one time. It's like thick in the air.
Okay,
All high voltage.
There's some paint you can get that is an anti-static protector. Aaron uses it on the multi-wave oscillators that they sell at EPD Labs. You can get it. You need a compressor and you need a face mask. But when you make the coils, the sparking over is what makes ozone. So you coat them in that sealant and keeps the electricity from coming out. As far as
so the arcing,
you're still going to get
the arcing over.
Yeah, it's can't
So allowing it to allowing it to arc from the conductor. I'm trying to look up the amperage output. So this is a
Yeah, Taryn, true that.
Was that Eric Dollard as a white wizard?
funny. Sometimes when he gets pissed off, I think of him and it looks like Sauron.
Does the PoE coil you made really create a magnetic monopole? He says he's getting a north out of it. I think he
So I
said.
haven't actually tested the fireball coil, but the green coil, yeah, it does produce what we call a pseudo monopole. It's not a true magnetic monopole, but it's a pseudo monopole, meaning that it's artificially created and that doesn't exist in it's not something that we found in nature. But yeah, I mean, you put the magnetic pole detector up to it, and it at a certain frequency and power level, it'll only pick up the north or the south pole. It won't pick up the north pole.
Hmm.
And
Might be an imperfection in the coil.
Something, but I mean, first, if you look at First Stop Energies, that's what they claim that these coils produce when you hook them up as the open circuit, not the closed circuit. So when you get a closed circuit, you shouldn't get any pole. But I was getting a pole with the closed circuit. So I don't know. Like you said, I think I have imperfections in my coil that might be causing it to behave differently. And that's why I want, like, if we can't get any of the same effects out of your coil, Nathan, with because I'm still having a hard time tuning this big fireball. I can't find the resonant frequency that makes it larger on the output. So far, the reference circuit's spinning, but the output circuit is not getting as much power no matter what frequency I put it at. And if for whatever reason we can't get these big coils to do what the small coil is, I'd recommend either one of us just trying to recreate the smaller design that I have, like to the T, with the same gauge, the same size. Because again, there could be something to do with the spacing and how big the wire is compared to the spacing. Like if you look at this one, the spacing is a lot more, right? Compared to yours, because you use a different gauge. So maybe that could affect it in some way. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to build a second one, the exact same size wire, so I could do testing in between the two.
Yeah, that's smart. And just FYI, this smaller coil doesn't use 24 gauge. It uses 23. It's slightly bigger.
Are you using square waves?
Yeah, but I tried the sine wave for the neodymium sphere because I heard it might work better.
Something I don't know if it's true. I haven't tested it, but one of the engineer guys I used to talk with said that high frequency AC on the scope actually looks very much like a triangle wave.
Huh.
So I used it one day when I was working with noise, finding out about white noise and pink noise and all that. I used it with pink noise and actually blew out computer monitor.
Wow.
Something about the red color gun just went poof on it when I played it.
So were you getting like a spike in extra energy or something?
I think it had something to do with the frequency hit a part in the electronics that was at its threshold, and it blew that part, so it knocked out the red color gun. Because electronic parts are, I don't know if I should be saying this. Yeah, they're susceptible to certain frequencies.
Yeah.
Ben,
Well,
I got a question for you. Are you using the LC circuit to resonate your coil?
no, just a stereo amp right now. We haven't hooked up the LC circuit or the trigger circuit or whatever to the coil.
Okay, second question. Will you ask Ben what the input coil takes, like DC or impulse?
So right now we're feeding it a true AC signal from the stereo amp receiver because that's what the speakers require for the stereo amp to, work properly. So when you input a tone, it can just manipulate that and, oscillate it at the right frequency that you want. In terms of pulse DC and other waveforms, you can. I've heard of people using pulse DC with these coils. We tried getting it to work. The highest efficiency that I could get out of the smaller coil which normally gets around 150 based on my readings of the multimeter and the visual inspection of the circuits. It only gets about 75%. And I was talking with Mike Does, and I'm like, like I'm thinking, okay, so if the max that I've ever gotten was 150 with a full alternating current, right? And then I'm taking a pulse DC, which is basically one motion. It's not the back and forth. Is that cutting it in half? Like, I don't know. Maybe, maybe that has something to do with it, but I know the waveform is very important, because if you get this waveform wrong, like I've had different inputs, like YouTube and stuff claim they have pure sine waves or something. It's not the same as a function generator or the frequency generator. You notice, like, I just put on, or earlier I put on the Schumann resonance it said pure sine wave Schumann resonance for YouTube. I put it on my phone and it didn't spin the sphere. It wiggled it. But then I put on the generator from my laptop. That's like a pure signal, and it just starts spinning like crazy. So the signal and the waveform has a lot to do with it.
So just so you know, Ben, it's not AC coming out of that receiver. It's just a sine wave. In your sine wave generator, you're getting stepped sine waves. It's like an IGBT, 6 of them, I think it is, and they step it. So it's like little level up some more, and then it comes down just like that. Okay, so it's a step DC that looks semi like a sine wave, but it's not exactly a sine wave. That might be why you're having trouble. And then obviously DC pulse is just on, duration off.
So the stereo amp isn't a true AC wave, is what you're saying?
It's a sine wave. It's not AC.
Okay, so it's not AC, so that might be where I'm getting confused, because I'm trying to think of it in terms of as AC oscillating back and forth, but you're saying it's more
it's just a smooth sine wave. That's all it is.
Okay.
It goes up, it comes down smooth. That's all. It's the same waveform. It just any oscilloscope can't differentiate the difference.
Yeah, that's the problem. I can't see the waveform without an oscilloscope. But according to the Nunez's research, you have to have the 180 degrees out of phase for the wave. You have to have one wave 180 degrees out of phase from the other. And
you have timing.
Yeah. And that's just, I guess that's just, like the back and forth, one way rotation and another way rotation or whatever. But that's vital to the system working. So whatever way we can reproduce that is the way to go about unlocking the potential of the coil, whether that's a true AC, waveform or a sine waveform. I'm still learning. So
yeah, it doesn't allow the coil to cross with bad fields. Okay,
so that's all
disruptive interference or whatever you want to call it.
Or could there be other stereo amps that work differently?
Nope, it's the same way.
They use what, like step up transformers inside, or
basically inside, yeah, it's your transformer that's going to give you your watt output. But then your circuits are going to be, in line with that. So the whole board will be different for sure, but the output wave won't be. It'll just be the strength of it.
Yeah, I really need an oscilloscope to see what's going on, because once I see it visually, I can see, okay, this is not anywhere looking like what I need to get compared to what, the wave that I get when I get the good results.
So I say that again.
There are different ways he could use computer software to get around not having equipment.
I know there's a way to use an oscilloscope on your computer, but I don't know how to hook it up. And if I can get the software, I can definitely do that and figure out how to hook it up.
Plug it into your microphone port.
Really?
But you don't want to plug no high voltage into it. But
yeah, I'll probably
you can use your microphone. I mean, you could go stick 2 rods in the ground and come back and plug it in your microphone port and take cubic SDR radio software. And when it asks you what input you want to use, you can tell it microphone, and you can sit and listen to Navy submarines that communicate through the ground with your sound card.
That's cool. Yeah, I was always hesitant to hook it up to my good computer because of the, any kind of extra energy spike that comes back might, be bad for the system, but I could probably do it on the
You
laptop.
could fuse it. But
Yeah.
if you don't mind using the computer for your signal generator and then run it through your amp,
Mhm.
and just use a microphone to listen to your output or whatever, there's some
Yeah.
software called VCV Rack. It's for music, kind of like that girl was showing. There's all these modules, and you take them and the way you set them up is you plug patch cords in, and they're all voltage based. Every module just works with voltage. There's voltage controlled oscillators, voltage controlled amps, everything. It also has oscilloscopes, power meters, spectral displays, any kind of visual information you want with your audio. There's a meter for it. There are modules that have Boolean algebra. So if you say, I want this signal and that signal, but when you hear this signal, shut that signal off. If then, you can build literally what Eric Dollar talked about, an analog computer on your screen. Now, that might seem like, okay, I'm not into music, but you can do any frequency you want, whether you want to play with music or just tune the frequencies.
I actually have a background in music software, so
every one of the modules, if you find something that works for your coil in real life, then you can go out and buy the module, put it into a 12-volt rack, control your voltage, and throw it into and have your machine right there in front of you, literally, and get rid of the computer.
Oh, that's cool.
So these modules aren't just software; they're in real life too. Called
that's good information.
VCVrack.com. It's absolutely free. Free modules, free software. There's pay ones.
But I do have a background in music software, so it's not going to be, hard for me to delve into it.
Bog Irish, VCV. VCV Rack. No, I don't think Sheila was using that. She's using some software through a digital thing that she made. But you can create, there's something in there called a Lesagius generator that makes those same patterns. It's got a lot of knobs, but it will make them same exact patterns. I am working with 2 of them in VCV Rack to mix horizontally polarized waves with the vertical waves to make the force field. So that's why when I saw hers, I was like, boom, because her math that she did for the colors and the frequencies, when I plug it in to the system I'm looking at, I think we're going to have some fun stuff.
Yeah, I wanted to, take the rodent coil and recreate some of those experiments on Pretty-Scope, but like you said, she has a custom module. I don't know if it's like publicly accessible. I don't know if she's open sourced that yet.
You wouldn't need it. The thing that made me go to VCV Rack is there's a module in there for that butterfly fractal I was talking about. There's a chaos oscillator. You pull it out, it starts generating that already, and then you take your data and pump it in
and plug it in.
Control the fractal.
Oh, so it's got the whole template.
Oh, dude, they're in there. There's the bifurcations. There's the whole bifurcation diagram. You can use it to drive logic to fire your oscillators. And so I've been building a system out of it. And when I saw hers, I was like, whoa, the music and the math's been done. And I want to see where mine fits in, because mine fits in with how electricity and that puts the pressure into different shells.
Yeah, so it's all coming together. Everybody has a little tiny piece. And I think the more people we have on the show, the more we're going to have these revelations.
Okay, well, if you want to learn how to use VCV Rack when you start out, I suggest this guy's simple. He's good, and he always shows videos about free modules and stuff. So,
yeah, put it in. Yeah, okay. I'm recording.
I don't have a link, but that's his name, so you could pop him up. He's
put him in YouTube.
He shows you how to use it and which modules you want. So when you start it up, it already starts running with 2 oscillators and an oscilloscope. and a control for your voltage. It's already patched when you start the program. It lets you start from there. You can actually add up to a 64 channel mixer on your screen. That's twice what Sheila had. And if you want to keep going, if you have enough RAM, you can build this sucker as big as you want. I'll demo it one day on my fractals when I get it worked out.
So to actually hook it up to the mic, I would get like a mic plug, like an auxiliary, like a 3.5 millimeter phono.
It's 1/8 inch jack.
Or a 1/8 inch? Okay, 1/8. Okay.
Your microphone. If you have a single jack that goes in the side of your computer, I suggest for $9 going on Amazon and getting one of these little external sound cards.
Yeah, I think I have one somewhere.
You can use the mic jack on there and the output for the signals you generate.
Nice.
I also have a preamp if that works too.
So it won't affect with you recording if you have an external board and can use it as a driver.
So I just attach what the positive to the jack, or do I attach both the positive and the ground to the jack?
Okay, you'll plug in to the microphone hole. You'll take your positive and negative and hook it up to whatever is your amplifier.
Oh, so you take two plugs. One's the ground and one's the positive. Okay.
For your sensor, if your microphone's going to be, well, for the output from the machine, from the laptop, you'd go to either your amp or whatever's driving your coil once you've got your sounds made. But if you want sensors, you want to hook up like a Ferrite that you've wrapped a couple turns around, and you want to listen, like she was saying, to your output of your coil, you could put maybe, say, a 500 mega ohm. Well, no, let's put at least 5,000 ohms in there somewhere. A resistor, stop current, and then just plug it right into the audio jack. And test it by getting close first to make sure that you're not overpowering your drive circuit. So don't start with everything at max. Start out and
bring it up slowly.
But yeah, you could use a sound card and
they have to be they're phono, right? So there's only one channel per
on the
jack.
microphone. It should be just one channel.
Yeah, just one.
Output will be stereo.
Right. Yeah. So you split it up and you'll have the ground and the positive connector. Okay.
Yeah.
No, this is cool. I should be able to, whether so regardless of whether I can afford an oscilloscope next week, I should be able to get this hooked up at least by this weekend and see something.
Well, there's oscilloscopes in that program.
Yeah, no, this is going to be cool. I appreciate the information because I knew it was possible. I just didn't know how exactly to hook it up.
There you go. Now you got it.
Yeah,
coming out of the computer and going into an amp, I wouldn't think you'd have to match impedances, really. The resistance is just to keep that coil from blowing up the little sound card. That's for Bog Irish.
Yeah, get a diode it. Do something to keep it safe.
Yeah, but I'm gonna get that high frequency diode off Amazon, and I'm gonna put that on the positive terminal.
So he's getting constructive resonance when it's in resonance, but when it's not, he's getting destructive. So he's getting back EMF that comes back into the signal generator. So he's got to protect it.
Yeah, and it's specifically happened with the small one when I tried to trick the amp into putting more out by sliding the pan all the way to the right because I was only using the right channel. And it fried both of them, the same exact model at the same exact time. It did the same. And I should have known. I should have learned, but I needed to do it a second time just to confirm that's what happened.
Oh, yeah. Blow it up. Find out.
I fried it and I found out. I did.
That's right. He decided to fry it a second time the same way just to make sure he was right.
Just to make sure. It was a cheap amp, man. I'm really glad that I got this nice amp now because Hey, Lulu. Yeah, we can do some fun stuff with this for sure. But I'm nowhere close to tuning this big boy, this big fireball. I've been at it for, I think this is the second time that I've tried on stream, and I haven't found the sweet spot yet. So it might maybe it's a little bit more precise than I anticipated.
Yeah, well, we'll all work through it together. I'm going to get the same program and do the same thing, and we're going to talk to Sears about it, and we'll make sure we get it right.
Yeah, because I've heard conflicting things. You know, some people say sweep through the frequencies at 100 hertz. Some people say sweep through them at 1 kilohertz. And some people say sweep through them at 1 hertz. And 1 hertz is tedious. If you go through 1 hertz all the way up to, what is their max, is like 20,000 hertz. So, I mean, you know, I don't know. Well, we'll get there. It's just going to take a while.
All right, guys. It's been 3.5 hours, a little over that. I think it's about time to shut it down for the night.
Now my
We're having
daughter,
so much fun. I lost track of time.
Thank you so much for coming on. You're welcome to come back any night. Tell me in the chat you want on. I'll send you an email, and you can come back in anytime you want.
great, thank you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure having you here.
Yeah, thank you. All right, guys, I enjoyed everything. We got Wednesday. We have, Gerald and Nathan's workshop. We're going to build some more circuits on that. Going to have some more fun like we always do. And then, Victor, if you got any circuits you want to build and show, you're welcome to do it on that day as well. So I know we're all builders out here, man, so it's always open to everybody. So anyway, with that said, whatever you guys got going on, you guys got anything else?
I'm good.
On later, I'll be back. Gotta go feed myself and the dog.
Part of the crew, man. Part of the crew. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. It's been a great stream. I appreciate everyone. Thank you very much, and have a great night.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, chat. Thanks, Sears and Nathan. I appreciate it.